Chapter 316. That's right, Song Yu used sorcery. In order to completely destroy Yang Dingtian's terrifying mysterious fire, Song Yu finally gave up on being casual and chose to use sorcery to completely destroy Yang Dingtian's mysterious fire. Not only did he overdraft his own mysterious qi, he also crazily devoured all the mysterious qi around him. He forcibly overdrafted his cultivation from a 6-star revered martial artist to a 9-star revered martial artist. He made his mysterious fire dragon 3 times stronger just to destroy Yang Dingtian's mysterious fire. Because of jealousy, because of anger. How could a person like Yang Dingtian be worthy of a peerless beauty like Shimen Yanyan? How could he be worthy of such an amazing mysterious fire? So, he must completely destroy it. Even if the price was to be unable to cultivate for nearly a year. In the trembling eyes of the crowd, they only saw the blue and black 1,000-meter-long dragon opening its terrifying dark mouth and swallowing Yang Dingtian's red mysterious fire dragon. That red mysterious fire dragon crazily struggled to escape. But that blue mysterious ice heart heavenly fire dragon that seemed to have been demonized was too big and too fast. It didn't leave any chance for its opponent and directly swallowed it. Then, that red mysterious fire dragon completely disappeared. Everyone cried out in surprise. Looking at all this in disbelief, looking at the disappearing red mysterious fire dragon, their eyes were filled with infinite sadness. Even the female disciples of the Netherworld Sea had a look of shock and sadness. Even though Song Yu belonged to their side, even though many of them were once infatuated with Song Yu. But now, they were full of disdain for Song Yu and sympathy and sadness for Yang Dingtian. Anyone could see that Song Yu used a very dishonorable method. Although the Netherworld Sea wasn't a Tiando League and didn't reject sorcery. But after all, this wasn't a life and death battle, but a competition, and it wasn't even a very important competition. To Yang Dingtian, maybe winning or losing was very important, but to Song Yu, winning or losing was only a face. But Song Yu still used a dishonorable method to completely destroy Yang Dingtian. This super handsome man, this cold and elegant proud son of the heavens, made them extremely disappointed. They now understood why Shimen Yanyan would choose Yang Dingtian and not look at Song Yu. This Song Yu's despicableness made his handsome face especially ugly. But all this sympathy couldn't be exchanged for anything. Yang Dingtian's mysterious fire dragon. Song Yu used a despicable method to devour it. The mysterious fighting flame was to fight a battle. In the beginning, he had used the most dangerous and direct method to fight against Song Yu. He realized that even though he had broken through to the martial honorable level, it was still very difficult for him to be a match for him. And his trump card was the 100 million demonic fire. He firmly believed that his million-spirit demonic flame could defeat Song Yu's mystic flame. So, he used to fight the mysterious fire. As long as Song Yu lost the mysterious fire battle, or even if it was a draw, Yang Dingtian would be able to leave. Furthermore, to prevent Song Yu from using any evil methods, he had specially summoned many beautiful female disciples from the Sea of Hades to watch the battle. This was to pressure Song Yu so that he would care about his image and not use any dishonorable methods. Who would have thought that Song Yu would still use sorcery? After devouring Yang Dingtian's mysterious fire dragon, Song Yu's smile became complacent and sinister. He said, "Yang Dingtian, did you think I would be so pedantic that I wouldn't use any tricks? You're too naive." Ha! Song Yu laughed as he frantically channeled his mysterious qi into the blue-black dragon's stomach to completely crush the 100 million demonic fire dragon. "Yang Dingtian, your mysterious fire is finished. You're finished too." Song Yu said coldly, "After I destroy the mysterious fire, you'll be next. No one can leave after offending the Sea of Hades." At this moment, Song Yu had completely shed all pretense of cordiality. Not only did he want to destroy Yang Dingtian's mysterious fire, but he also wanted to completely destroy Yang Dingtian. Shameless, the ones who scolded were none other than the many female disciples from the Sea of Hades. As for Yan Yan, she had already placed her hand on her sword and was prepared for the worst. Yang Dingtian looked at the sinister Song Yu and slowly closed his eyes. Why? Have you accepted your fate? Song Yu sneered. After Yang Dingtian closed his eyes, he felt the 100 million demonic fire dragon in his stomach. At this moment, the huge 100 million demonic fire dragon was being crushed in the blue-black dragon's stomach and was in great danger. As for the heart flame in Yang Dingtian's sea of qi, it was on the verge of collapse and could be extinguished at any time. Yang Dingtian had entered the most dangerous moment. He did not want to fight to the death. He only wanted to think of a way to break through Song Yu's defenses or force the arrogant Song Yu to let him leave through a draw. However, who knew that Song Yu's arrogance was completely fake? He directly shed all pretense of cordiality and revealed his most sinister side. Next, it's time to put myself in death and then come back to life. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath. Then, he ignited a weak heart flame in his sea of qi and directly burned the walls of his sea of qi. The sea of qi that contained mysterious fire dragon was an alternative space formed by the walls of the sea of qi. As for the walls of the Sea of Qi, they were formed by the mysterious fire dragon after being compressed by thousands of times. Therefore, using the heart flame to burn the walls of the Sea of Qi was a kind of reverse transformation. Turning the Sea of Qi back into mysterious fire dragon and releasing it. What would happen if the walls of the Sea of Qi were turned into mysterious fire dragon? The wall of his Sea of Qi was getting thinner and thinner. If it was light, his cultivation would degenerate. If it was heavy, his sea of qi would explode. Therefore, in the primal chaos mainland, when a person wanted to perish together with his enemy, he would most likely choose to detonate his sea of qi. The so-called detonate of the sea of qi was to use the heart flame to burn the walls of the sea of qi and turn the sea of qi, which had been condensed for decades, back into mysterious fire dragon and then explode it. The only outcome was, of course, to be smashed into pieces. Yang Dingtian's method was not to detonate the Sea of Qi, but the nature was very similar. It was just a very small version of detonating the Sea of Qi. The consequences were extremely serious. If it was light, the cultivation base would degenerate. If it was heavy, the Sea of Qi would explode and the body would be smashed into pieces. Therefore, this was called putting oneself in death and fighting to live. Yang Dingtian dared to do this because his sea of qi was golden. In the end, it was the golden mysterious fire dragon that condensed a brand new sea of qi from the Naga royalty. Huff! The heart flame crazily burned the walls of the sea of qi. And Yang Dingtian's million-spirit demon fire dragon was struggling desperately. It was riddled with scars and could be completely destroyed at any time. Boom! Finally, where the heart flame ignited the inner walls of the Sea of Qi, countless mysterious fire dragon suddenly burst out. In an instant, the empty Sea of Qi was filled up. But this time, the mysterious fire dragon that was filled up was not the battle mysterious fire dragon. It was not even pure mysterious fire dragon, but golden mysterious fire dragon. Go! Yang Dingtian ordered. Suddenly, the golden mysterious fire dragon violently surged out, through Yang Dingtian's profound veins, and fiercely shot toward the million-spirit demon fire dragon. After the golden mysterious fire dragon was infused with the million-spirit demon fire dragon. In an instant, the red fire dragon's body suddenly burst out with a dazzling golden color. The fire dragon, which was originally riddled with wounds and on the verge of death, instantly recovered. Its body did not become bigger, but it was originally composed of flames. At this time, it was completely composed of golden light and red flames. It became condensed and almost solid. Aoo! There was a roar that almost shook the sky and the earth. Bang! An enormous explosion resounded as an enormous hole suddenly appeared on the chest and abdomen of the blue and black profound flame dragon controlled by Song Yu. After that, a golden-colored profound flame dragon suddenly charged out from within. It was like a king descending to the world. This golden fire dragon soared into the sky, then swooped down and ferociously entangled Song Yu's blue-black profound fire dragon. It opened its golden mouth, revealing its golden fangs, aimed at the blue-black profound fire dragon's neck, and fiercely bit down. No! Song Yu let out a mournful howl. His blue-black profound fire dragon's neck was suddenly bitten open, and its huge head seemed like it would break off and fall off at any time. Countless blue-black flames fell from the sky. When they fell into the sea turned black and instantly froze into ice. No! In the midst of Song Yu's howl, Yang Dingtian's golden profound fire dragon continued to crazily bite, as if it wanted to tear the enemy 10 times its size into pieces. Ah! Song Yu's eyes were filled with determination amidst his frantic howl. Boom! Then, the 1,000-meter-long blue-black profound fire dragon's huge head suddenly broke off and exploded. The remaining half of its body quickly shrank, and with lightning speed, retracted into Song Yu's body. This Song Yu was actually so decisive. He directly cut off his head to survive. Because his profound fire dragon's head was already entangled, and its entire body was about to be completely destroyed. He decisively cut off the dragon's head, and returned the remaining small part of the profound fire dragon to his body. One must know that this profound fire dragon's head took up more than half of the profound fire dragon's energy. In other words, the profound fire that returned to his body was already completely damaged, and its energy was less than half of its original. Originally, this was a top-grade profound fire, but now, it was probably not even comparable to a mixed fire. After cutting off the profound fire dragon's head to survive, Song Yu looked at Yang Dingtian with eyes filled with endless hatred. Yang Dingtian, you destroyed my profound fire today, and I will definitely let you die without a burial place. After saying that, Song Yu suddenly pulled out his sharp sword, wanting to completely smash Yang Dingtian into pieces. At this moment, many female disciples from the Netherworld Sea were still in shock from Yang Dingtian's victory. Seeing Song Yu actually wanted to kill with his sword, they could not help but angrily rebuke. Yang Dingtian looked at Song Yu and sneered, "Do you think that you are still a 6-star marshal revered after using the sorcery?" Yang Dingtian slowly raised the ugly sword in his hand, wielding an incomparably powerful force, and said coldly, "Originally, we did not need to fight to the death. I only wanted to break through you, and not defeat you. The best result would be that I lost, but I succeeded in breaking through you. I did not expect you to be so fierce and narrow-minded, wanting to kill me. Then, don't blame me for being ruthless." After saying that, Yang Dingtian's sharp sword suddenly slashed. Immediately, that huge golden profound fire dragon in the sky suddenly shot towards Song Yu. "Do you think that your profound fire dragon can break through my treasure's defense?" Song Yu sneered. Suddenly, his entire body was enveloped by a snow-white light shield. There were countless treasures in the Netherworld Sea, and this light shield was even more valuable than Yang Dingtian's deep-sea Xian clothes. "You are courting death." Yang Dingtian sneered. He slashed his wrist. Pa! A bolt of lightning was directly spat out from the golden profound fire dragon's mouth. That's right, this was the lightning attribute's demonic sky split. The point attribute's attack could completely ignore all energy defense, and directly penetrate it. This blue lightning instantly turned into a golden color in the dragon's mouth, and blended with the dragon's color. Then, it fiercely slashed into Song Yu's chest, and directly tore a huge crack on his light shield. "Impossible!" Then, in Song Yu's disbelieving exclamation, this golden profound fire dragon suddenly drilled into the light shield's crack, and fiercely hit Song Yu's chest, and then directly penetrated through his body. Of course, the so-called penetrating through his body was actually crushing him, because this golden profound fire dragon's body was huge, far bigger than Song Yu's body. Puff! Blood crazily spurted out. Song Yu's body, like a straw, was directly sent flying a few hundred meters away, and fiercely fell into the sea. And that golden profound fire dragon made a turn in the air, and then directly flew back to Yang Dingtian, and became smaller and smaller. Finally, it turned into a golden flame, and directly drilled back into Yang Dingtian's lower abdomen, and turned into the heart's flame in his chi sea, quietly burning, elegant and peaceful, as if that ferocious dragon just now was not it. Moreover, Yang Dingtian shockingly discovered that his profound fire was no longer red in color, but golden in color. His million-spirit demon fire, permanently turned golden, and carried the domineering energy of the Naga royalty. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath, and stretched out his hand towards Yan Yan, and said, "Darling, let's go, leave this place." Chapter 3:17. At this moment, the icy heart heavenly fire dragon's flames had stopped falling. The surrounding sea was filled with black flames and black floating ice. Yan Yan held back her tears and reached out to hold Yang Dingtian's hand. The surrounding dozens of young and female disciples of the Netherworld Sea applauded with envy and blessings in their eyes. As for Song Yu, who fell into the sea, he never got up again. Of course, he was definitely not dead. Yang Dingtian's mystic flame could not harm his life. Even though he had overdrawn his mystic chi and his body was very empty, he was still a 6-star marshal revered. Yang Dingtian released countless souls of the million-spirit demonic flame and flew towards the energy barrier above his head, looking for the exit of the Netherworld Sea. The Golden Beach was a few thousand meters above the entrance of the Netherworld Sea. Therefore, the battle with the mystic flame dragon did not touch the energy barrier at the top. Soon, countless resentful spirits found the exit of the energy barrier. Yang Dingtian held Yan Yan's hand and the ethereal mystic wings appeared on his back. He was about to fly out. Wait, suddenly, a voice seemed to come from the horizon. The voice was not loud, but it shook everyone's body. It was the master of the Netherworld Sea, Wu Yu. "Greetings, master." Instantly, dozens of female disciples of the Netherworld Sea knelt down. Their faces were almost touching the sea and they did not dare to look up. The blue-black mystic flame energy scattered on the sea gradually gathered and turned into Wu Yu's appearance, floating in the air. "Song Yu, how long are you going to hide?" Wu Yu said coldly. Immediately, Song Yu flew out from the sea and knelt down in the air. His face was in a mess and he looked dispirited. "Song Yu, are you seriously injured?" Wu Yu asked. "No, master." Song Yu said. "Then you can't defeat Yang Dingtian?" Wu Yu asked. "No." Song Yu said, "Yang Dingtian is not my opponent." "Then why did you lose?" Wu Yu asked. "Because he competed with me in Mystic Flame." Song Yu said, "If it was a normal battle, he would not be half as strong as me." "That's right, he was using a strategy." Wu Qiong said, "He used your arrogance and underestimation of the enemy. He used his strength to fight against your weakness." "But why did you agree when he said that he wanted to compete in Profound Flame?" Song Yu immediately fell silent. "That's right. Why did he have to agree? If it was a normal duel, Yang Dingtian had no chance of winning at all, nor would he be able to force him out of the circle. If he wanted to compete with the Profound Flame, why should he agree? Because you are conceited, arrogant, and supercilious. I feel that no matter which direction you take, Yang Dingtian is not your match at all." Wu Yu said, "Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. However, if one was proud, one should be proud to the end. If one was shameless, one should be shameless to the end. You cheated, you used sorcery, but so what? This was not the Tiando League, and no one would be judged by morality. Why are you hiding in the sea and not daring to show your face after losing? Do you feel ashamed to face others?" "Yes," Song Yu replied. "What's there to be ashamed about?" Wu Yu sneered, "You lost dishonorably, but he won dishonorably as well." Then, Wu Yu stared at Yang Dingtian, "Don't you think so?" "Yang Dingtian, you won dishonorably." Yang Dingtian said, "Although I don't care about being dishonorable, I still want to ask, how did I win dishonorably?" "Because you stole." Wu Qiong said. "Sect Master Wu Yu, please speak clearly." Yang Dingtian said. Because you stole a treasure from the Sea of Hades, the golden demon core of the Naga royalty, isn't that right? Wu Yu said coldly. Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly trembled. Don't try to deny it. Wu Yu said, because your last mysterious flame dragon was filled with the golden energy of the Naga royalty. You stole the demon core of the Naga royalty from the Sea of Hades from Miju Tuchuo. What a joke. Yang Dingtian sneered, Sect Master Wu Yu, I went to Senior Miju Tuchuo to ask for the Naga royalty demon core, but I was rejected. Moreover, the Naga royalty demon core is in Senior Miju Tuchuo's hands, and you have seen it before. Still want to quibble? Wu Yu said coldly, if it wasn't for the Naga royalty demon core, how could you break through to the revered level in just a few days? When did I break through to the revered level? Yang Dingtian said, I'm only a 9-star martial ancestor now, and I haven't broken through to the revered level at all. I did break through in the past few days, but that was because of the purple Naga Xian veins. I have a full 3 feet of purple Naga Xian veins. You will know my specific cultivation level with a gentle probe. Wu Yu frowned, and suddenly a cloud of black fog gushed out and drilled into Yang Dingtian's wrist. A moment later, it withdrew. At this time, Yang Dingtian's cultivation level had indeed not reached the revered level. As for my Xian flame containing the golden energy of the Naga, I can only say that I have a very close relationship with the Naga. I am wearing the deep sea Xian clothes, and I also have the Naga's deep sea Xian poison, Yang Dingtian said. Yang Dingtian absolutely could not admit that he had obtained the Naga royalty demon core. Once he admitted it, he would almost certainly die. Because he was afraid of Saint Tantai, otherwise Yang Dingtian would have died long ago. And if he admitted that he had obtained the Naga royalty core, then Wu Yu would be completely justified in killing Yang Dingtian. You are really a glib talker. Sect Master Wu Yu said coldly, but all your explanations are futile. I can easily drill into the deepest part of your brain. You have no secrets to me. Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly trembled, and he said in his heart, Master, quickly protect the consciousness in my brain. Dongfang Minmi said, I will do my best, but I can't guarantee that I can resist this person's mental penetration. Yang Dingtian could not help but ask, Master, how strong is this Wu Yu? Much stronger than me. Dongfang Minmi said, because the Netherworld Sea belongs to the outside forces, it is not listed in the martial arts rankings of the chaotic world. Perhaps it is second only to the people of the Hidden Sect and the Temple of Annihilation. At this moment, Wu Yu turned into a cloud of black mist and suddenly flew over, entangling Yang Dingtian's entire body. At this moment, Yang Dingtian's entire body was completely unable to move. Then, a completely irresistible energy suddenly drilled into Yang Dingtian's brain. In an instant, Yang Dingtian's brain was completely blank. It was as if when his cultivation broke through, his entire spirit entered a complete nothingness. It was as if his entire brain was completely out of his control. At this time, Wu Yu's consciousness had already entered Yang Dingtian's brain, searching for the most secret information. However, the situation was slightly different. Yang Dingtian was not completely nothingness at this moment. It was as if he was standing high up in the sky and watching his spirit and consciousness, as if this brain was not his own. All of a sudden, this cloud of black mist suddenly trembled. A light burst out from the depths of Yang Dingtian's mind. Swoosh 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 swoosh, this cloud of black mist quickly withdrew from Yang Dingtian's brain and loosened its entanglement around Yang Dingtian. It retreated a few hundred meters and then condensed back into Wu Yu's appearance. Wu Yu's eyes were fixed on Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian asked in his heart, Master, did you block Wu Yu's consciousness? Dongfang Minmi was silent for a moment. After a long time, he said, No, this person's strength is far beyond my imagination. Yang Dingtian's heart went cold. Once Wu Yu's consciousness completely penetrated Yang Dingtian's brain, there were basically no secrets left, not to mention the information related to the Naga royalty core. Right now, Wu Yu could kill Yang Dingtian, Miju Tuchuo, and even Elder Wu Yan confidently. However, Wu Yu did not do anything. He only stared coldly at young Ding Tian. After a long time, he said coldly, "Now, do you still want to say that you did not steal the Naga royalty core?" "Of course not." Young Ding Tian said coldly. "Ha ha ha." Wu Yu suddenly laughed. Suddenly, the sky shook and the earth shook. The sea water surged and Yang Dingtian could not stand still. After a few minutes, Wu Yu stopped laughing and waved his hand. "Okay, Yang Dingtian, you can go." Yang Dingtian was stunned. What did this mean? Wu Yu was sure that he had obtained the Naga royalty core, but he still let him go. What kind of play was Wu Yu planning? Or, what kind of conspiracy did he have? Song Yu, recuperate in the Netherworld Sea for half a month, then go out and cultivate. Wu Yu said. Then, the blue-black mysterious fire energy condensed into a blue flame and rushed back into Song Yu's body. Wu Yu disappeared in front of Yang Dingtian's eyes. Yang Dingtian was completely stunned and puzzled. What kind of trick was Wu Yu playing? Previously, he looked like he wanted to kill him, but now he let him go so easily. What was his purpose? Or did he find out something? What are you still standing there for? Why are you still not leaving? Suddenly, Elder Wu Yan's scolding came from the front. Yang Dingtian only heard her voice but did not see her figure. Immediately, he pulled Yan Yan towards the direction of Elder Wu Yan's voice and bowed, "Grandma, take care." Of course, Yang Dingtian had already put a holy water pill in Elder Wu Yan's medicine. He just did not tell her. Then, Yang Dingtian pulled Yang Dingtian and flew towards the exit of the Netherworld Sea. Soon enough, Yang Dingtian had left the Sea of Hades and arrived at the Silver Beach. Yan Yan looked at the Netherworld Sea under the sea and murmured, "I finally left this place. Let's go." Yang Dingtian kissed her and pulled her to the other side of the Silver Beach. Stepping on the fast boat here, they rowed towards the north. On the small boat, Yang Dingtian was rowing. Yan Yan lay comfortably on his lap with her beautiful eyes closed, enjoying the beautiful tranquility. "Husband, the thing that happened 6 years ago, the most painful secret in my heart, do you want to know now?" Yan Yan suddenly asked. Yang Dingtian, "Of course I want to know. I especially want to know who was so crazy to put an energy black hole in you, something even more terrible than the deep-sea Xian poison." Chapter 318. And then? Yang Dingtian asked. Yan Yan tried her best to stop crying and said, "After knowing that he was my cousin Yang Zheng, I didn't dare to bring him back to Cloud Sky City. I only dared to drive the carriage to a remote place. I settled him in a rural mountain more than 500 miles away from Cloud Sky City. I found an abandoned hut and let him recuperate there. His injuries were very serious. I was afraid that he wouldn't be able to take it, so I secretly returned to Cloud Sky City and asked Sister Ningning for good pills. I even brought Lu along. Lu stayed in the hut to take care of him. I went out every day to gather herbs and hunt beasts to treat his injuries. Just like that, I took care of him for 2 months before his injuries gradually recovered." And then? Yang Dingtian asked, "Martial Uncle Shiman, you didn't know?" Yan Yan didn't directly answer Yang Dingtian's question and said, "After Yang Zheng's injuries recovered, he suddenly left without saying goodbye. I was anxious and angry, so I ran out to find him. In the end, I found him more than 100 miles away. He had fainted on the side of the road. I was very angry and asked him why he left so quickly. He said, 'What can I do if I don't leave? Could it be that there was still something between us?'" After saying this, Yang Dingtian's face suddenly frowned. Yan Yan hurriedly kissed his face to please him. "Actually, when I was very young, father had already arranged a marriage for me." Yan Yan said, "When he first took over the position of Cloud Sky City Lord, father said that the position of City Lord belonged to the Yang family and that he would return it to the Yang family in the future. So when I was very young, he arranged a marriage between cousin Yang Zheng and me. So, since we were young, Cloud Sky City treated us as a couple, so he was especially good to me. Until the year I was 10, the Yang family rebelled. They wanted to kill my father and take over the position of Cloud Sky City Lord. Father ruthlessly suppressed them and then chased the rebelling Yang family members out. That's why this marriage was left unsettled. And then? Yang Dingtian asked. Then, he suddenly cried and begged me to elope with him, Yan Yan said. Do you agree? Yang Dingtian asked. I didn't. I can't leave father and mother. Yan Yan said. Then he said that since this was the case, there had to be an end to this matter. Let him leave, as if he had never appeared. I don't want him to leave just like that. I don't want to leave Cloud Sky City either. Thus, I said that I would bring him back to Cloud Sky City and asked him if he dared to go back with me. In the end, after thinking for a while, he gritted his teeth and said, I dare. Thus, I brought him back to Cloud Sky City. Then, what was Marshal Uncle Shimon's reaction? Yang Dingtian asked. Yan Yan said, I brought Yang Jing back to Cloud Heaven City and knelt in front of father. My father looked at me for a long time before he sighed. Are you finally willing to face me? As it turned out, father already knew that I had saved Yang Zheng. And because of me, he had already fallen out with the Northwest Qin City, fought 3 wars, and killed many of their people. Then, father asked me if I had made a decision. He wanted Yang Zheng to stay, and I nodded. Yang Dingtian asked, then, what happened next? Yan Yan said, then, father announced that my marriage with Yang Zheng was still valid. Furthermore, Yang Zheng was still the successor of Cloud Sky City. Father even personally taught him martial arts and treated him as a direct disciple. But during that time, father was very unhappy. Previously, he was very close to me and liked to coax me to talk every day. During that time, he didn't talk to me much. So, in order to please him, I began to work hard to learn how to cook. Every day, I would make different soups for father to drink. Finally, father smiled at me more often. But occasionally, he would tell me that I had to be responsible for my own choices. Yang Dingtian could imagine Shimen Wuya's state of mind at that time. The Yang clan was his greatest enemy, but for his daughter, he had no choice but to compromise. Yan Yan said, I thought that life would continue like this. Although it wasn't very sweet, at least it was happy. And every time I made soup, Yang Zheng would come and eat it secretly. He said that he envied my father and hoped that one day, I would be able to make soup for him every day. That way, even if it was a god, he wouldn't change. Yang Dingtian asked, then? Yan Yan took a deep breath, her beautiful eyes filled with pain. She said in a trembling voice, one day, he came to drink the soup I made as usual. When he saw me, his expression was a bit strange. I asked him what was wrong. He said that the soup was a bit salty. I thought that he was talking nonsense and didn't take it seriously. I packed the soup and brought it to father. He said that he wanted to accompany me and that he had some things to report to father. I didn't take it seriously and let him come with me. But on the way there, I asked him if the soup was really salty. He said that it might be his taste buds. It's fine, he told me to bring the soup over. At this point, Yan Yan's delicate body was already trembling. She continued, I was still worried at that time, so I scooped up a spoonful and wanted to taste it. His expression changed slightly and he told me not to drink it. I was suspicious, so I looked at him and said that he didn't want me to drink it, so I threw the soup away. The muscles on his face twitched. He smiled and said that if you want to drink it, you can drink it. So, I drank a mouthful, and nothing happened. Sister Ningning once gave me a very strange needle. She said that this needle could detect any poison in the world. After I drank it, I was still worried and secretly tested it with the needle. There were no symptoms either. So, I laughed at myself and brought the soup in. At this point, Yan Yan's face was already covered in tears. And then? Yang Dingtian asked. Then, after I entered father's room, I scooped out the soup as usual and brought it to father. Father took it and was about to drink it as usual. Suddenly, I realized that Yang Jing didn't directly follow me. I felt strange and instinctively whispered, "Father, don't drink it." Father was very vigilant. He smelled the soup and then took out the needle to test it. He laughed at me for making a fuss over nothing. Then, he directly picked up the bowl and drank it. Yan Yan sobbed. Not long after father drank the soup, a strange bird cry came from outside. Then, 4 men covered in black robes rushed over with swords in their hands. The person in the lead was the one who wore the same mask as Yang Zheng. He should be his elder. The 4 of them fiercely rushed over and wanted to kill father. It turned out that there was a strong poison in the soup. It was a poison that couldn't be detected by anything. At this point, Yan Yan was already out of breath from crying. Yang Dingtian gently patted her back and said, "And then?" In addition to these 4 people, 10 more people rushed in and surrounded father. Also, there were shouts of killing everywhere outside. They have been preparing for this day for a long time. As long as father drinks the poisonous soup, they will immediately kill him. Then, they will rebel in Cloud Sky City and kill most of the people who are loyal to father. Then, they will take back Cloud Sky City. Yan Yan's voice trembled. They have been preparing for this day for a long time. Yang Zheng came every day to steal the soup, just for one day, to poison father. Moreover, it was a poison that couldn't be detected by anything. Then, I drank that spoonful of soup in front of Yang Zheng, and he didn't stop me. He just watched me drink it, so that I could continue to feed the soup to my father. Yan Yan's entire body was trembling. She said, everything was a conspiracy. It was all for the sake of killing my father and taking back Cloud Heaven City. And then? Yang Dingtian asked. Yan Yan continued, then, just as the 10 or so experts were about to kill father, Yang Zheng appeared. He said that he would spare father's life, destroy his martial arts, and put him under house arrest. However, the masked old man said that he wanted to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Not only did he want to kill father and mother, but he also wanted to kill me. Yang Zheng was furious and said that he had to marry me. Otherwise, he would commit suicide and let the Yang family die. In the end, the masked old man had no choice but to compromise. He said that he could keep me, but father had to be killed. Furthermore, Yang Zheng could only marry me as a concubine. The main wife had to marry the Northwest Chin City's second Mississippi, and then? Yang Dingtian asked. Then, Yang Zheng agreed and wanted to take me away. He said that if I couldn't see father being killed with my own eyes, I wouldn't leave. I put a sword to my neck and said that if he touched me, I would commit suicide. In the end, father smiled and told me to go out. The scene returned to 6 years ago. Shiman Wuya sat on a chair and said to Yan Yan, go out. It's best that you don't see what happens next. I'm sorry, father. It's all my fault. I won't go out. I won't go out. I'll die with you. Yan Yan was crying tears of blood. Shiman Wuya gently stroked Yan Yan's head and said, go, you should be a good daughter. When it comes to important matters, you have to listen to father. Go find your sister Ningning, okay? Remember, go find your sister Ningning. At this moment, Shiman Wuya's gaze was gentle and firm. Every time this happened, Yan Yan had to listen to her father. Wipe away your tears. Remember that today is a small lesson, Shiman Wuya said. Yan Yan wiped away her tears and turned to leave. No one stopped her. Yang Zheng quickly chased after her and said in a trembling voice, Yan Yan, don't blame me. I just wanted to take back everything that belonged to the Yang family. My love for you has never changed. Yan Yan turned around and looked at Yang Zheng's face. I don't blame you. From your point of view, what you did was right. Yang Zheng chased after her and said, I'll go beg my father and ask him to spare your father's life. Then you'll still marry me and we'll be the same as before. Yan Yan dodged and said, don't dream like that. Then, Yan Yan directly circulated her Xian Qi. Ignoring the fighting around her, she directly ran towards Ningning's valley. At this moment, she discovered that her Xian Qi had already regressed to the great mystic martial master level. Yang Zheng originally wanted to chase after her, but he knew that he had more important matters to attend to. Thus, he led the rebel forces and rushed towards the scripture pavilion, inside Shimen Wuya's room. Junior Wuya, I've waited for this day for so long. The masked old man slowly walked forward and said, do you know how much I sacrificed for this day? Don't you want to know who I am? Shimen Wuya sighed and said, Yang Yunchong, big brother. For today, you sold yourself to the devil. Was it worth it? The masked old man fiercely lifted his mask. It was an incomparably terrifying face. His entire facial features were all twisted and rotten. It was completely disgusting to the extreme. It was worth it, of course it was worth it. Yang Yunchong said coldly, Cloud Sky City was originally mine. I was originally going to become the most outstanding Cloud Sky City lord in hundreds of years. It was because of that disgusting pig-killing swordsmanship that I became a madman and a cripple. Do you know where I went to recover my cultivation? I went to the Dongli grasslands tens of thousands of miles away. I went to the northernmost celestial Red Sea. I sold my soul and everything to the devil in exchange for the current me to recover my martial arts and break through to the master level. However, he has become neither human nor ghost. However, I don't regret it. Because my son is normal. Most importantly, Cloud Sky City is back in the hands of the Yang family. Yang Yunchong said, and you, the usurper, will die in incomparable pain. Can you kill me? Shimen Wuya asked. Of course, we have 4 masters and 10 martial venerables here. Yang Yunchong laughed and said, and you, although you are already an advanced master. But do you know what you just drank? It's a dark crystal refined from the celestial Red Sea's water. It's enough to devour all energy. A few 100,000 pounds of seawater was refined into a dark crystal the size of a speck of dust. It's enough to completely destroy your cultivation. Right now, let alone the dozen of us, even if I were to kill you alone, it would still be more than enough. Shimen Wuya looked at Yang Yunchong indifferently. He stood up and slowly walked toward Yang Yunchong. Yang Yunchong instinctively took 2 steps back. What are you afraid of? Shimen Wuya laughed. What am I afraid of? Your cultivation is far inferior to mine. You're already a dead man. What am I afraid of? Yang Yunchong laughed and then pulled out an ugly big sword. You think too much, Shimen Wuya said. He raised his palm and slammed it toward Yang Yunchong. Yang Yunchong met it with a palm. Ah! Then, Yang Yunchong let out a shrill scream. All that could be seen was a dark shadow spreading from his palm all the way up, instantly covering his entire body. Yang Yunchong's body trembled crazily, like a ghost. Shimen Wuya said indifferently, Yan Yan told me not to drink it just now, so I didn't drink it. It looked like I drank it, but in fact, I directly used my qi to boil the soup. I saw this speck of dark dust in my palm, and then I kept it here so that I can return it to you now. Yang Yunchong screamed crazily and roared crazily. He felt that the energy in his body was quickly disappearing. Brother, I won't kill you. I'll lock you up. You and your son can spend the rest of your life together, Shimen Wuya said. At this time, the remaining experts finally came to their senses. They came over and pulled out their swords. They surrounded Shimen Wuya, trembling with fear, ready to fight. Yang Yunchong roared, Shimen Wuya, you're good. But just now, your daughter also drank a mouthful of soup. Her genius cultivation is completely destroyed. When Shimen Wuya heard this, his eyebrows furrowed and he roared angrily, "Bastard, go to hell." Swish swish swish. Shimen Wuya furiously attacked with his sword. Suddenly, blood spurted out. Yang Yunchong in front of him was directly torn into pieces. After that, the furious Shimen Wuya wielded his bloodthirsty sword. In an instant, he killed more than a dozen experts, 3 grandmasters, and 10 revered martial artists in the room. Swish 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 swish. The sword's shadow was like a dragon. More than a dozen experts of Qin City, almost without any resistance, were torn into pieces by the furious Shimen Wuya within a few seconds. Then, Shimen Wuya rushed out of the small building and flew towards Shimen Ningning's valley. Back in reality, Yang Dingtian and Yan Yan's boat. And then? Yang Dingtian asked. Yan Yan said, "Then father came over and desperately poured qi into my body. He used all kinds of methods to suck out the dark crystal from my body, but he didn't succeed. Instead, his cultivation was damaged. Just like that, he was delayed in suppressing the rebellion in Cloud Sky City. That night, many people died. As for that old bastard Yang Yan, he wasn't clean in this rebellion either. But when he heard that father was fine and Yang Yunchong was killed, he immediately turned around and led people to slaughter the rebels. Yang Zheng, who was sent to attack the scripture depository, also died under Yang Yan's sword." Yang Zheng died? Yang Dingtian asked. "Dead." Yang Yan personally chopped off Yang Zheng's head for everyone to see. That way, my father couldn't take the opportunity to eliminate him and let that old thief live until now," Yan Yan said. Then, Yan Yan smiled miserably and said, "The whole thing is like that. I destroyed myself. I almost destroyed my father and the entire Cloud Sky City." Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and asked, "Then? Do you love Yang Zheng? Or did you love him?" Chapter 319. Yan Yan didn't directly answer Yang Dingtian's question. Yang Dingtian asked again, "Yan Yan, do you love Yang Zheng? Have you ever loved him?" Yan Yan looked at Yang Dingtian with her beautiful eyes. "Husband, when do you think a woman can learn to love?" Yang Dingtian shook his head. "I don't know." Yan Yan said, "Sister Ningning has been lonely all her life. Perhaps when I told her about you, she pitied you and loved you. But I'm different. I'm a careless, bold, and unruly girl. It wasn't until I brought you to the Netherworld Sea, when your life and death were uncertain, that I learned to love. Unforgettable love. Before that, I never learned what love was, and I never loved anyone." Yan Yan said, "When we were young, Yang Zheng and I were childhood sweethearts. He treated me very well and was very gentle. After we grew up, he treated me even better and gentler. He never disobeyed me. At that time, father said that he wanted to betroth me to him. I didn't refuse because if I did, Yang Zheng would have no place in Cloud Sky City. I didn't want him to be hurt. I had feelings for him and treated him as my family. Even when father announced our marriage again, I felt a bit suffocated. I even felt like I couldn't breathe, but I didn't object. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Because I didn't fall in love with any man. If I must get married, then marrying a man who loves me, a man who is like my family isn't bad either. But you're different." Yan Yan reached out and touched Yang Dingtian's face. She said softly, "You're so gentle that you don't have any patience. No matter what I say or do, you oppose it and go against me. But in the end, it turns out that you're right. You're not as handsome as Yang Zheng, and you're not as gentle and elegant as him. You're also unfaithful and stingy. But I love you very much. I love you so deeply that it's engraved in my heart. To say the most nauseating words, I can't live without you." Yang Dingtian forcefully pulled Yan Yan into his arms. "Husband, are you angry?" Yan Yan asked softly. Yang Dingtian shook his head. "I didn't." "Are you jealous?" Yan Yan asked. No, no. When Yang Dingtian said this, he couldn't help but feel a little guilty, because he was really jealous, very jealous. You're just jealous. Yan Yan said in a tender voice, you're so unreasonable. Yang Zheng and I didn't do anything, we didn't even hold hands, and you're jealous. Look at you and Dongfang Bingling. You have done so many intimate things in secret. If I were as narrow-minded as you, how could I live? Yang Dingtian immediately blushed. Yan Yan twisted her small waist and said in a tender voice, good husband, I swear to you that Yang Zheng really didn't even hold my finger, really. At that time, even though we were engaged and he wanted to be close to me. However, I was young at that time and felt that intimate contact between men and women was disgusting. Unlike now, I've done all kinds of shameless things with you. Seeing Yang Dingtian's complicated and awkward expression, Yan Yan said softly, husband, tell me, what do you think? Yang Dingtian said awkwardly, first of all, my thoughts are very perverted. Say it, the more perverted you are, the more I love you. Yan Yan said. I was thinking, if Yang Zheng didn't rebel and didn't want to harm your father, then wouldn't you marry him? Then won't you marry him and become his wife? Then you won't belong to me anymore. Yang Dingtian said embarrassedly. That's right, his thoughts were very perverted. Using something that didn't happen to talk about it was simply groundless. That's not necessarily true. Yan Yan said seriously, even if Yang Zheng didn't rebel, my cultivation is still very high. I might have broken through to revered martial artist by now. Or maybe not, but I'm still very powerful. Then, I still have to go to Yin Yang school with my father and meet you like a savage. Then, you took advantage of me the first time we met. Then, I still have to slap you half to death. Then, you still have to go to Yin Yang school and be hunted down by Dongfang Bingling. Then, my father will definitely be fine this time, definitely fine. Then, we'll bring you back to Cloud Sky City. Then, you'll still go against me, and you'll become more and more powerful. Then, we'll still be entangled with each other and become a pair of dogs. Maybe, Yang Zheng will become the lord of Cloud Sky City and I'll elope with you. We'll still be intimate every day and do some shameless things, just like now. Am I right? Then, Yan Yan became passionate and her breathing became heavy. She said softly, so, even if Yang Zheng didn't rebel, I would still be with you. I would still become your woman, am I right? Yes, you're mine. No matter which time or space, which world, heaven or hell, you're mine. Yang Dingtian fiercely hugged Yan Yan in his arms and kissed her little mouth as if he wanted to kiss her until she breathed her last. Yes, I'm yours, I'm yours. Yan Yan trembled and said, everything about me is yours. My mouth is yours, my face is yours, my legs are yours, my heart is yours, every inch of my body is yours. Eat me, kill me, eat me, tear me apart, and eat everything into your stomach. Then, it was the real lightning striking the earth. Mu Yenny had been waiting for Yang Dingtian for a few days. At first, she obediently stayed on the island and didn't leave. Later, she found that there wasn't even a ghost around. The fiercest animal was also the dolphin that jumped out of the sea every day to act cute. She couldn't stay on the island and directly jumped into the sea. She collected from the bottom of the sea every day, but because she was worried about Yang Dingtian in the Netherworld Sea, she basically threw away everything she picked after playing with it for a while. Then, she unknowingly swam south. She didn't fear the sea at all. She was like the daughter of the sea. So, for a few days, she unknowingly pretended not to know and swam south for an unknown distance. Today, she was collecting from the bottom of the sea and playing with the fish at the bottom of the sea. Suddenly, she felt that there seemed to be some movement on the surface of the sea. She couldn't help but carefully float up. When she was less than a foot away from the surface of the sea, she suddenly heard a strange sound. The words were also strange. Just kill me, tear me to shreds, it seemed that a murder was happening on the surface. Mu Yenny carefully poked her head out and opened her eyes. Suddenly, she was completely stunned. Oh my God! Her eyes were going blind. Could it be any more shameless? Could it be any crazier? She, Mu Yenny, was also full of wildness. She wasn't a bashful young lady, but a bold and unrestrained girl. Because of curiosity, she had read a lot of related books and picture albums. However, the scene in front of her was really beyond her imagination. Even the most shameless picture album couldn't draw what was in front of her eyes. In shock, Mu Yenny felt her heart tremble, and her whole body was instantly numbed by electricity. After a few minutes, she finally saw the faces of the two people fighting on the boat. At first glance, it was even more incredible. One of them was her young master, the young master who always pushed and pinched her. One was the young lady of Cloud Sky City, the other was so beautiful that it was blinding, and her figure was so good that it made people jealous. The proud and noble young lady of Cloud Sky City. However, the princess of Cloud Sky City in front of her didn't have the slightest bit of noble and proud aura. She was completely the most shameless woman. Suddenly, Mu Yenny didn't know if she should continue diving or surface. Just then, a naughty little dolphin rushed over and directly knocked Mu Yenny's delicate body into the air. It originally wanted to be close to humans, but it didn't know how to control its strength. Bam! Mu Yenny directly fell onto Yang Dingtian's boat. The entire boat made a loud noise and shook violently, almost flipping over. At this moment, Yang Dingtian and Yan Yan saw Mu Yenny fall onto the boat and were completely stunned. Hiss! Immediately after, the water snake skin suit on Mu Yenny's body suddenly cracked open, note, begging for monthly votes. Chapter 320. At this moment, Mu Yenny's worldview had been completely destroyed. She had always said that she would stick to the young master, but now that she saw such an explicit scene, she only had one thought, and that was to run away as far as possible. Therefore, she didn't care about her tight leather clothes. She just wanted to jump off the boat and hide at the bottom of the sea again. But for some reason, she didn't have any strength in her hands and feet. Not to mention jumping off the boat, it was difficult for her to even move. Therefore, she could only close her eyes tightly and pretend that she didn't see anything. When Mu Yenny fell from the sky, Yan Yan also exclaimed. Her delicate body suddenly shrank, and she didn't know what to do. She directly covered her face and did everything else as usual. She buried her head in her arms and immersed herself in her own world like an ostrich, pretending that nothing had happened. A quarter of an hour later, the sea and the boat were calm. Yan Yan rolled her eyes at Yang Dingtian. She turned over and lay on the edge of the boat with her legs together. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be slightly stunned. He didn't know why Yan Yan did this. I've calculated. Today is the best day to have a baby, Yan Yan said. Yan Yan, are you in such a hurry to have a baby? You're still a baby yourself, Yang Dingtian said. Not in a hurry. I'm already 20. Yan Yan said, no matter if it's a boy or a girl, when I walk on the street 10 years later, I want people to think that I'm the elder sister, not the mother. At this moment, Mu Yenny finally opened her eyes. She shyly took out her clothes and put them on. Then she poured a basin of water and put it in front of Yang Dingtian. Do it yourself. Then she poured another basin of water and added some natural petal fragrance oil. Then she warmed the water with qi and put it in front of Yan Yan. Yan Yan accepted Mu Yenny's clothes with a red face and whispered, "Thank you, elder sister. You flatter me. You're a young lady and I'm a servant." "It's my duty to serve you," said Mu Yenny. In fact, Mu Yenny had only seen Yan Yan once or twice. She didn't have much of an impression of the princess of Cloud Sky City. However, even though she disliked Yang Dingtian, she didn't dislike Yan Yan. Because at that time, Yan Yan was alone, carrying the dying Yang Dingtian for nearly 10,000 li. Her face was haggard and full of scars, so she admired her greatly. "Sister, don't talk nonsense," Yan Yan said in a tender voice. "I had an older sister before, Sister Ningning. Now that she's gone, I treat you as my sister." Yan Yan's coquettishness and cuteness were popular among both men and women. Mu Lianyi's heart softened at her words. Next, the three of them awkwardly sailed north together. However, Yang Dingtian didn't have another chance to steal her, even though Mu Lianyi dove into the sea to make space for them. Yan Yan didn't let Yang Dingtian have his way. Although Yan Yan was bold, she couldn't do that kind of thing with Yang Dingtian under other people's eyes. Yang Dingtian wasn't in a hurry to do that. He was just teasing his beloved wife. Most of the time, he was cultivating with his eyes closed. Previously, he had broken through to the martial honorable realm. However, in order to defeat Song Yu, he had no choice but to put his life on the line. He burned his energy C and turned it back into Xian Qi, causing his cultivation to degenerate. Now, he was a 9-star martial ancestor realm. However, he was only half a step away from martial honorable realm. According to Yang Dingtian's current cultivation, he would definitely be able to break through to martial honorable realm before the martial contest. As for Yan Yan, her Xian meridians had completely recovered, so Yang Dingtian thought that she would work hard to cultivate and race against time to make up for the lost time. However, it wasn't like that at all. She was concerned about her stomach all day long. She always felt that there was a baby in her stomach. There was even one time when she said that she wanted to vomit after eating something because of self-hypnosis. She must be pregnant. The heavens took pity on her. It had been less than 2 days since she went crazy last time. It had been less than 5 days since she lost her virginity for the first time. It would take at least 2 months for her to have a pregnancy reaction. Therefore, Yang Dingtian didn't have much hope for Yan Yan's cultivation. If he wanted her to work hard, he should at least wait until she gave birth. On the other hand, Yang Dingtian was overjoyed by Mu Lianyi. Previously, Mu Lianyi kept saying that she wanted to give herself to him. But now, she was working very hard to cultivate. Yang Dingtian used the mystic fire and the golden mystic qi to easily cleanse her marrow and meridians at the 3rd level. Then, Yang Dingtian cut off 2 inches of Naga's purple Xian meridians. After melting it with the mystic fire, he wrapped the mystic vein with the mystic fire, which had no offensive properties, and sent it into her qi C to transform her Xian meridians with almost no pain. The lower the grade of the mystic vein, the more effective the Naga's purple Xian meridians were. Just 2 inches of Naga's purple Xian meridians raised the grade of Mu Lianyi's Xian meridians from the middle 6th grade to the upper 7th grade. Moreover, the remaining mystic qi energy in it directly helped her break through 3 levels, from a 9-star Xian martial warrior to a 2-star Xian martial master. However, when absorbing this Xian qi, Yang Dingtian didn't use the yin-yang devouring Xian technique on her. He only used the mystic fire to burn and refine the fire Xian qi, so Mu Lianyi still suffered a lot. Just in case, Yang Dingtian still gave her a special elixir of holy water. Speaking of which, this elixir of holy water was really embarrassing. At that time, when Yang Dingtian was healing Yan Yan's Xian meridians, he was worried that she would be in pain and in danger, so he directly poured more than half a kilogram of holy water into the bathtub. In the end, Yan Yan didn't use it, but Yang Dingtian did. After using it, there was still a lot of holy water energy left in it. Yang Dingtian didn't want to waste it, so he refined the bathtub of water into elixirs. There were dozens of elixirs. And basically, this elixir could only be used by the woman closest to him. Because the elixir's composition was too complicated. Other than the holy water, there were also all kinds of things that flowed out when Yang Dingtian and Yan Yan were having fun. After Mu Lianyi took the elixir, Yan Yan moved close to her ear and told her the origin of the elixir. Mu Lianyi blushed and said that she was shameless. Then, when Yan Yan wasn't paying attention, she viciously stepped on Yang Dingtian's leg. Just like that, Amidst the awkwardness and sweetness, young Dingtian returned to the southwest continent after 3.5 days. Right now, there were still 12 days before the martial contest for the Cloud Heaven City Lord position. After returning to the Mu clan docks, Yang Dingtian and Yan Yan didn't stop at all and immediately headed north. Mu Lianqing's side was also fully prepared. After the ship reached the shore, they saw a group of knights by the shore. The leaders were actually Shimen Bao and Shui Hongxiao from the Wooden Sword Castle. When she saw Yang Dingtian, Shui Hongxiao disregarded the seawater and galloped her horse over. She shouted in surprise, "Big brother Yang." When Yan Yan saw the beautiful and wild Shui Hongxiao, she instantly rolled her eyes at Yang Dingtian. At this moment, Shui Hongxiao noticed Shimen Yan Yan. She instantly blushed and pulled on the reins. Previously, she heard that Shimen Yan Yan was very beautiful, but it was just a rumor. She didn't expect her to be so dazzling after seeing her in person. It even made her feel a little ashamed. Furthermore, she always thought that this young mistress would be high and mighty and bossy. She wouldn't be gentle to young Dingtian. In the end, with just one look, she could tell that Shimen Yan Yan had extreme gentleness and love for young Dingtian. She also had a deep attachment and dependence. It could be said that Shimen Yan Yan's feelings for young Dingtian were much stronger than hers. Instantly, she felt disappointed and happy for young Dingtian. Perhaps only such a girl is worthy of Big Brother Yang. A girl like me is just wishful thinking. In a short period of time, many thoughts flashed through Shui Hongxiao's mind. Yang Dingtian first greeted Shui Hongxiao, "Little sister." Then, he said to Shimen Bao, "Big brother Bao, why are you here?" Junior brother Yang, Martial Uncle Mu was worried that the large group would affect your speed, so he left for the north 2 days ago. My master led many martial uncles from the Wooden Sword Castle to escort him. He was worried that no one would receive you when you returned, so he sent us here to wait for you, Shimen Bao said. Yang Dingtian's heart warmed. Although Li Guinong was a man of few words and was like an old farmer, he was really kind. But he was really warm-hearted. He had only met her once before, but he had helped her time and time again. Especially during this period of time, the Heavenly Phoenix Pavilion had been causing trouble for the Wooden Sword Castle. This kind of kindness was really hard to repay. Yang Dingtian didn't say anything. He cupped his hands at Shimen Bao and said to Yan Yan, "Yan Yan, this is Big Brother Bao from the Wooden Sword Castle, and this is little sister Shui Hongxiao from the Wooden Sword Castle." "Big Brother Bao, little sister Shui Hongxiao." Yan Yan called out intimately. As for Mu Lianyi, there was no need to introduce her. She was very familiar with Shui Hongxiao and had a good relationship with her. The few of them quickly packed their luggage and mounted their horses. They used their fastest speed to head north and catch up with Mu Lianqing and Li Guinong's large group. They didn't even return to the Mu clan docks. The few of them rode on their horses, and when they passed by the Mu clan docks, they realized that the place had been burned into ruins. Uncle Mu personally burned it, Shui Hongxiao said. Seeing that Mu Lianyi's eyes were a little red, Yang Dingtian said gently, "Lianyi, I'm sorry. I caused your home to be burned down." Mu Lianyi shook her head forcefully and said, "From today onwards, Cloud Heaven City is my home. You and young lady Yan Yan are my family. Yes, we are going to take back our home, our Cloud Heaven City." Yang Dingtian yelled out. Then, the group didn't look at the burned Mu clan docks anymore and sped up towards the north. "Big Brother Bao, are your injuries better?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Almost." Shimen Bao said, "It's all thanks to Madame Shimen's elixir." Yang Dingtian nodded. He felt that after leaving the southwest continent and sailing on the sea, he was going to cut off 2 inches of Naga's purple mystic meridians and use the mystic fire to melt it before giving it to Shimen Bao to reconstruct his mystic meridians. Of course, it would be very painful for Shimen Bao to reconstruct his mystic meridians. But Shimen Bao was a man and shouldn't be afraid of this pain. Recently, is the Sky Wind Pavilion still so domineering towards the wooden sword castle? Yang Dingtian asked. Shiman Bao nodded and said, it is getting more and more prosperous. It almost doesn't give my wooden sword castle a place to stay. He definitely had to help with this matter, but it had to wait until after the City Lords Martial Contest. Right now, the most important thing was the City Lords Martial Contest. Everything else had to be placed behind. Chapter 321. Greetings to young lord. Following Mu Lianqing's command, the 500 fully armored cavalrymen knelt down in unison. Yang Dingtian looked at this group of people with fiery eyes. This was an army that Mu Lianqing had spent tens of years to build. Neat armors and neat weapons. Perhaps, their cultivation levels weren't high. In fact, their salutes weren't even very neat. However, they were his men and belonged to his army. Yang Dingtian could see that even though they had traveled 1,000 miles, their morale was still very high. This was because most of them were wandering warriors or bandits from the southwest continent. For example, Niu Dali, who was pursuing Mu Liani, had recruited all the youths in the mountain stronghold. This group of people all had lowly statuses and were looked down upon by the world. Mu Liani used Yang Dingtian's identity to recruit them and gave them a glorious background. Yang Dingtian's identity was a pressure even for a prodigy like Qin Huayu. Although Cloud Heaven City was now under the control of Yang Yan and Shiman Ju, Yang Dingtian still had a righteous heart. However, Yang Dingtian had always been righteous. He was Shiman Wuya's designated successor. The successor of Cloud Heaven City's lord and the direct disciple of Dongfang Minmi. No matter which identity it was, to this group of low-level warriors, he was a legendary existence. To be able to become Yang Dingtian's army was an absolute honor to them. Yang Dingtian looked at the 500 warriors kneeling on the ground and couldn't help but feel his blood boiling. He rode on his horse and shouted, "If you all follow me, your future path will be very difficult and dangerous. I can't promise you anything. What glory, wealth, or power? I can't promise you anything. I can only say one thing. As long as you are my brothers, I will never abandon you. Die for young lord." 500 warriors shouted with all their might. They looked at Yang Dingtian with eyes filled with fanaticism and worship. Ever since Mu Lianqing recruited these 500 warriors, other than training them, he only had one thing to do in his free time. That was to constantly instill Yang Dingtian's invincibility, and to constantly instill in them the kind of genius and glory that Yang Dingtian was. Yang Dingtian was not only the successor of Cloud Sky City, but he was also the successor of Yinyang School appointed by the world's #1 expert, Dongfang Minmi. If he followed Yang Dingtian today, he would become the most glorious supreme warrior in the world tomorrow. He might even become a direct descendant of the Yinyang School. Wherever he went, he would be dazzling and envied by others. All the warriors present were familiar with Yang Dingtian's deeds. It took him less than a month to advance from an enlightener to a mystic warrior. When he was still a mystic martial warrior, he defeated the Qin clan's young master, Qin Shaobai, who was one rank higher than him. When he was still a mystic martial warrior, he had defeated the Raging Flames Castle's young lord, Tuoba Yi, who was 2 ranks higher than him and even possessed a mystic skill. In fact, Mu Lianqing had even fabricated many glorious achievements that Yang Dingtian didn't have. The most exciting thing was that a year ago, Yang Dingtian was only a mystic martial warrior, but now, he was going up north to fight for the Cloud Sky City Lord's position. And his opponent was a martial supreme expert. In short, in the hearts of all the warriors, Yang Dingtian was omnipotent and could create impossible miracles. They didn't emphasize Yang Dingtian's cultivation, but they always emphasized Yang Dingtian's invincible legend. Yang Dingtian pays his respects to martial uncle Li. Yang Dingtian and Yan Yan bowed deeply. Gratitude wasn't something that could be expressed with words. Yang Dingtian didn't express his gratitude towards Li Guinong's kindness. Nephew's cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds. It is truly delightful and fascinating. Li Guinong helped young Ding Tian up with a smile. Mu Liancheng went forward and continued to kneel as he greeted. Old slave Mu Liancheng pays his respects to young lord and young mistress. Yang Dingtian and Yan Yan were helpless and could only allow Mu Liancheng to help him up after he finished kneeling. Then, the husband and wife both knelt down and greeted. Yang Dingtian, Shimen and Yan Yan pay their respects to Uncle Mu. After a short chat, Mu Liancheng said, "Young lord, should we take a break or continue heading north?" Yang Dingtian looked at Li Guinong. "Everything will be up to young Lord Yang." Li Guinong said. "Continue heading north." Yang Dingtian said. "Yes." Mu Liancheng shouted, "All warriors, continue heading north." Then, the group of over 500 people rode 2 horses each and continued heading north. Just like this, the group didn't stop and continued heading north. 2 days later, they had traveled over 1,000 miles. Right now, they were only 300 miles away from the southwest continent's northern coast. There were already 3 large ships waiting there. As long as the group arrived, they would use their fastest speed to head north and reach the northwest continent in less than 3 days. There, Shimen Lai's Black Blood Cavalry would receive them. After another 2,000 miles, they would reach Cloud Heaven City. For the past few days, the 500 cavalrymen had frantically traveled over 3,000 to 4,000 miles and were already exhausted. Even though they had avoided the Sky Phoenix Pavilion and Raging Flames Castle's sphere of influence, they were still cautious. If a large force were to launch a sneak attack, it would be a disaster for this young and inexperienced army. "Young lord, we will try our best to avoid large cities and towns along the way. However, there is no way we can avoid the city in front." Mu Liancheng said, "Unless we are willing to take a detour of 1,000 miles and take those crisscrossed mountain paths, we will have to pass by Luofeng City." Yang Dingtian nodded. Luofeng City was considered a large city in the southwest continent's savage land and had a population of around 200,000 to 300,000. It was the gathering place for the surrounding 2,000 miles and was also the only small plain in this region. Therefore, unless they took a detour of 1,000 miles, they wouldn't be able to go around this city. This city didn't belong to any major force and was considered a commercial and trading city. It had accumulated quite a bit of wealth, but its martial Dao force was relatively weak. It was considered a neutral city. The merchant groups here were willing to serve any force. Therefore, until now, there wasn't a major force that had a hand in this city. After all, in this world, money wasn't important. Martial Dao resources were everything. "Uncle Mu, who is in charge of Luofeng City?" Yang Dingtian asked. "The full power of this city is in the hands of the Merchant Association. There are a few influential merchants who take turns to be the city lord of Luofeng City." Mu Liancheng said. "Then do they allow a large-scale army to pass through?" Yang Dingtian asked. "As long as they pay." Mu Liancheng said, "When they pass through the city, they have to put down all their weapons. A few days ago, I had already sent an envoy to greet them and gave them a large amount of bribes. They have allowed us to pass through. Of course, we are using the name of a mercenary group." Yang Dingtian nodded. When they were 30 miles away from Luofeng City, Yang Dingtian gave the order to stop and let the 500 over cavalrymen set up camp. He then changed his appearance and brought Mu Liancheng to Luofeng City. When they arrived at Luofeng City, Yang Dingtian felt something was wrong. The city gates were closed and there were many warriors patrolling on the city walls. They were fully armed and looked as though they were facing a great enemy. Furthermore, Yang Dingtian noticed that the city walls were stained with blood. Yang Dingtian went forward and cupped his hands. "Fierce Horse Mercenary Group requests to enter Luofeng City." At the same time, Mu Liancheng lifted up a chest which was filled with gold coins. There were at least a few thousand of them, and it was more than enough to pay for the passage. "Go away. From today onwards, there is no Luofeng City." There is only South Continent City. On the city gates, there were already warriors shouting, "No armed force is allowed to enter." When Yang Dingtian saw the person on the city gates, he was instantly astonished. It was actually someone he knew. Furthermore, he was once Yang Dingtian's subordinate. Back when Yang Dingtian was impersonating as Shen Lang, he was the commander of Qin Mengli's guards. Right now, the person on the city walls was a subordinate of Yang Dingtian's cavalry leader. Could it be that the northwest Qin city had already encroached on Luofeng city? Could Qin Mengli be in the city right now? Chapter 322. Qin Mengli's husband was the nominal city lord of West Continent City. At this time, Luofeng City had changed to South Continent City. It was obvious that it had fallen into the hands of the Northwest Qin family. The Qin family had indeed sounded the horn to occupy the Southwest Continent. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but frown deeply. Once the Qin family started to move, they would be able to sweep through the Southwest Continent. Qin family didn't even need to show themselves. At this time, the Northwest Qin family had 2 hired thugs. The legal side had the Sky Wind Pavilion, while the underworld had the Raging Flames Castle. In the Southwest Continent, there was no power that could stop them. They couldn't even withstand a finger from the Qin family. What the Qin family needed to do was to build a good relationship with the upper echelons of the Tiando League, so that the many big shots of the Tiando League would turn a blind eye to their actions. Of course, the Qin family and Dongfang Bingling had completely fallen out. However, it didn't mean that Dongfang Bingling would stop Qin Wanchou's expansion. This woman worshipped the most direct power. She wouldn't put her thoughts on these political struggles. There was only one thing she wanted to do, and that was to become stronger, stronger, and stronger. When her cultivation surpassed Qin Wanchou's, she would directly go to Qin City and chop off the heads of Qin Wanchou, Qin Huayu, and the others. Yang Dingtian directly took out a purple gold coin, which was equivalent to 100 gold coins. He offered it and said, "Officer, you have worked hard to defend the city. May I ask who is in charge of the South Continent City?" The cavalry leader's eyes lit up, but he suppressed his greed and coldly shouted, "Why are you asking so much? Leave immediately, or we will shoot arrows." After speaking, he raised his hand high and dozens of crossbows behind him were aimed at Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian obviously wasn't afraid of these crossbows, but he frowned and took a few steps back. With so much money, the cavalry leader was very tempted, but he still suppressed his greed. It was obvious that it wasn't that he didn't want to take it, but that he didn't dare to. It seemed that the Qin family was serious about taking over the southwest region. Yang Dingtian placed the purple gold coin on the ground and asked, "Sir, when will South Oblast City open its gates?" Whoosh 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 whoosh. What answered Yang Dingtian were dozens of sharp arrows that shot directly at Yang Dingtian's feet. "What should we do?" Mu Yanqing asked. Yang Dingtian frowned and said, "Let's go back first. We'll discuss it later." Soon, Yang Dingtian returned to the camp and held a small meeting to explain the situation. "What should we do next?" Mu Yanqing asked. "Should we bribe or forcefully attack?" Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, "Bribery is useless. The Northwest Qin city doesn't lack money. If I'm not mistaken, the person in charge of Luofeng City this time is a direct descendant of the Qin city. He has an astronomical amount of money. Even if we bribe him with all our belongings, it's useless. Could it be that the only way out is to attack by force?" Yan Yan said, "We don't know how many soldiers there are in the city, how many experts there are, and who is in charge. Forcefully attacking won't work either." Yang Dingtian said, "We have too few people, and this is a newly formed army. If we forcefully attack, the losses will be too great. Then what should we do? We are already pressed for time, and we can't afford to waste a single day." Mu Yenny said. Yang Dingtian said, "Perhaps the highest commander in Luofeng City is an old friend of mine. Today, I will sneak into Luofeng City and investigate before making any plans. Yan Yan said, husband, that is someone from the northwest Qin city. She is definitely an enemy and not a friend. Yang Dingtian said, the situation between this person and me is very complicated. I have to confirm if it is her. If it is her, we can pass through Luofeng City without wasting any effort. Li Guinong suddenly said, nephew, actually, you can leave the army first and bring young Lady Shimen back to Cloud Heaven City. Brother Mu and I will lead the team and take a detour. Even though we will be late by a few days, it doesn't matter. Therefore, you don't have to enter the city and take this risk. Yang Dingtian said, if it is during normal times, I will definitely do so. But now, the northwest Qin city is marching southward. I don't know how many forces they have sent into the southwest continent. But according to my estimation, it could be 30,000, 50,000, or even more. Therefore, it is a foregone conclusion that the Qin city will sweep through the southwest continent. Our 500-man army will be in great danger and might be wiped out at any moment. The Qin city will definitely not allow the southwest continent to have an organized military force. Unless we are willing to scatter these 500 men, it will be very dangerous. I even feel that there are many roaming cavalrymen monitoring our surroundings. That's right. Today, we have seen dozens of scouts scouting our camp. Shimen Bao suddenly spoke. Yang Dingtian said, time is of the essence. Therefore, I have to bring this team out of the southwest continent in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, it will be too dangerous. Mu Lianqing said, I originally hoped to strengthen young Lord's forces, but I didn't expect to bring such a huge trouble to young Lord. Why don't we scatter them? Don't say that, Uncle Mu. As long as they follow me, they will be my brothers. I will never abandon them. Yang Dingtian said. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian stood up and said, all right, time is of the essence. I will immediately sneak into Luofeng City and meet with their supreme commander. I will go with you. Li Guinong said. No, Uncle Li. From the looks of it, the enemy could simply extend a finger and crush this 500-men army. Therefore, there was only one thing that Yang Dingtian had to do now. That was to use the fastest speed to return to the campsite and get Mu Lianqing and Li Guinong to lead the troops back to the south. The faster, the better. Once they reached the southernmost point, they would immediately board the ship and make a 20,000-mile detour back to Cloud Heaven City. They had to abandon everything and use the fastest speed to return to the south. Once the enemy caught up, it would be a complete annihilation. Therefore, Yang Dingtian used the fastest speed to fly back to the campsite. When Yang Dingtian flew 300 miles and returned to the campsite, he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. This was because his 500 troops were surrounded. Furthermore, they were surrounded from all directions without a single gap. A total of 10,000 troops had surrounded Yang Dingtian's 500 cavalrymen in a 5-mile radius. Yang Dingtian's 500 cavalrymen had a very smooth journey. This was because in the entire southwest continent, as long as they avoided the Raging Flames Castle and Sky Wind Pavilion's sphere of influence, no matter how many troops passed by, no one would bother about them. This was because there were too many ownerless lands in this piece of land. Who knew that they would encounter the Qin city's army entering the southwest? Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and quickly landed in the center of the campsite. Young Lord, you are finally back. We have been surrounded. The number of troops surrounding us is uncountable. Mu Lianqing said. At this moment, Yang Dingtian's 500 cavalrymen had all mounted their horses and pulled out their spears and swords, preparing for battle. Yan Yan, Mu Liani, and Shui Hongshao were also fully armed. Nephew, what should we do? Li Guinong asked. Yang Dingtian replied, Marshal Uncle Li, we have been surrounded by 10,000 troops. The northwest Qin city has wantonly invaded the southwest. More than 100,000 troops have already landed and are continuously entering Falling Wind City. The southwest continent cannot be protected. Ah! Li Guinong was instantly shocked. He originally thought that the Raging Flames Castle had sent a few thousand men to surround his 500 men. Who knew that the Qin city had actually sent more than 100,000 troops into the southwest? The southwest continent could not be protected. Then what should we do now? We have to make a decision as soon as possible. Li Guinong said. Yang Dingtian replied, the troops will be in the shape of a sharp knife. Marshal Uncle Li, Uncle Mu, and Big Brother Bao will be the tip of the knife. We will charge towards the south and tear open an opening. We will not stop and will charge towards the south until we reach the most difficult seaside. We will then take the boat and take a detour of 20,000 miles to return to Cloud Heaven City. Li Guinong's expression changed. Mu Liancheng and I will lead this troop and charge out. You will bring young Lady Shimen and immediately fly towards the north and return to the northwest continent. Otherwise, when the battle starts, you will be entangled and will definitely delay the city lord marshal contest. Yang Dingtian replied, let us lead everyone out of the encirclement first. After he finished speaking, Yang Dingtian ordered the 500 cavalrymen to get into the shape of a sharp knife. He and Li Guinong would be the tip of the knife. They drew out Ah Chao's huge sword and were about to charge towards the south. At this moment, a rider quickly galloped over from the enemy's formation and shouted at Yang Dingtian from afar, who is the leader of your mercenary group? Yang Dingtian replied, I am. My master invites you over for a chat. That messenger said. Yang Dingtian asked, who is your master? Seventh young lady Qin. That messenger replied. Seventh young lady Qin. It was really Qin Mengli. Qin Mengli was the youngest among all the siblings. She was the seventh child. Chapter 323. Yang Dingtian slashed with his sword. Immediately, blood flowed from Qin Chichi's neck to her breasts. Qin Chichi didn't beg for mercy. She just stared at Yang Dingtian with a smile that wasn't a smile. Suddenly, 10,000 horses galloped outside, shaking the heavens and the earth. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of swords rubbing against their sheaths could be heard. The candles in the tent were shaking. The entire tent was shaking. 10,000 cavalrymen were like a gale, sweeping in from all directions. The beautiful Qin Chichi just looked at Yang Dingtian with a smile, allowing the blood to flow from her neck. She didn't say anything, didn't do anything. The bright red blood dyed her thin skirt red. 10 minutes later, there was no sound of fighting. Outside, it was completely silent. Yang Dingtian slashed with his sword, tearing a large piece of the tent apart. Outside, the 10,000 cavalrymen had already disappeared without a trace. A few hundred meters away, Yang Dingtian's 500 brothers were safe and sound. Even their swords had been sheathed, but their faces were filled with confusion and confusion. Qin Chichi's 10,000 cavalrymen had completely retreated. The sound of 10,000 horses galloping wasn't an attack, but a retreat. The sound of swords rubbing against their sheaths wasn't a sword being unsheathed, but a sword being sheathed. Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Chichi and said, after the incense burns out, if the 10,000 cavalrymen don't receive orders, they will all retreat. They won't attack, right? That's right. Qin Chichi said. Then why did you say that after the incense burns out, as long as you don't use the commander's seal, the 10,000 cavalrymen will kill all my men? Yang Dingtian asked. I'm just messing with you to test you. Qin Chichi said. Aren't you afraid that I'll really kill you? Yang Dingtian asked. Didn't you not kill me? Qin Chichi said. At this moment, half of her skirt was dyed red with blood. Due to the excessive blood loss, her delicate body was on the verge of collapse. Her red lips were turning white and dry, but she still had a smug and mocking smile on her face. You're crazy, Yang Dingtian said. I've already told you that I'm crazy, Qin Chi said. Not only am I crazy, but I'm also a liar. This woman was really a lunatic, using her own life to amuse others. You are a demon woman. Compared to Dugu Fengwu, you are even more of a demon woman. Yang Dingtian said. Thank you for the compliment, Qin Chi replied. Then why did you send 10,000 cavalrymen to stop me and meet me today? Yang Dingtian asked. Just to pass the time, Qin Chi replied. You won't kill me? Yang Dingtian asked. Not now, Qin Chi said. I'm just here to meet you and have a chat. I'm also here to see who you are. And the result? Yang Dingtian asked. What a disappointment. Qin Chi pursed her lips. You know that I'll sweep through the entire northwest continent after taking over the southwest. When that time comes, your Cloud Heaven City will be my #1 target to eliminate. Half a year later, you will be my greatest opponent in the northwest continent. Thus, I'm here to test your foundation in advance. And the result? Yang Dingtian asked again. What a disappointment. Qin Chi said, Kid, half a year later, I will do my best to eliminate your Cloud Heaven City. I'm a very shameless woman and will do anything. So just you wait. Either you wash your neck clean and wait for me to kill you, or you kneel down and surrender. Even if there are 10 of you, you won't be a match for me. Yang Dingtian turned a deaf ear. But you still have a way, and that is to kill me now. Rape me first before killing me, Qin Chi suggested seriously. Yang Dingtian still ignored her. This woman was a lunatic, and there was no point in talking to her. Kid, you can leave now, Qin Chi said. You're not going to kill me now? Yang Dingtian asked. No, I didn't plan to kill you in the first place. After I'm done with my entertainment, I'll let you go, Qin Chi said. You're still very useful. Of course, I can't kill you now. Then, she walked to the corner of the tent, lifted the carpet, and took out a purple crystal token. She handed it to Yang Dingtian. Here, for you. This token is only valid for 3 days. You can use it to pass through Luofeng City. When you reach the northern coast, you can gather ships to send you north. A few hundred meters ahead, I've prepared 553 people's armor for you. You can pretend to be Qin City's army. After she finished speaking, Qin Chi clapped her hands. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew. A black shadow stopped in an instant and silently entered the tent. She took out an elixir and stuffed it into Qin Chi's mouth. Then, she drew a line across Qin Chi's neck. Instantly, the blood on Qin Chi's body froze. The black shadow waved her hand, and all the blood and ice shattered and flew out. The blood on Qin Chi's body disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a faint red mark on her neck. Then, the black shadow carried Qin Chi and walked out. Qin Chi waved her snow-white hand and said to Yang Dingtian, Little man, I'll see you in half a year or never. I wish you success in obtaining the position of Cloud Heaven City Lord. Of course, I don't think you'll win the martial arts contest. You have an 80% chance of losing. Qin Huayu left you a very powerful secret weapon. Even if you become the Cloud Heaven City Lord in the end, that's not bad. Wait for me to torture you until you wish you were dead. Qin Chi said sweetly. How old was she? She actually called Yang Dingtian little man. Little man, don't lose the martial arts contest for the position of the city lord. Don't disappoint me. Then, the black shadow woman carried Qin Chi and left silently. From the beginning to the end, the black shadow woman didn't even look at Yang Dingtian. It was as if he didn't exist. However, Yang Dingtian clearly knew that this black shadow woman was a master-class expert. She was Qin Chi's personal bodyguard. Just now, Yang Dingtian wanted to kill Qin Chi, but it was all a pipe dream. Qin Chi left, leaving behind an enchanting fragrance. Demonic woman. Demonic woman. From now on, Dugu Fengwu could no longer be called a demonic woman. Compared to Qin Qiqi, Dugu Fengwu was as pure as a child. She was Qin Wanchou's daughter. Yang Dingtian didn't believe it. Qin Wanchou might be cunning, but how could he give birth to such a vixen-like daughter? Half a year later, he would meet this demonic woman again. When that time came, it would be a battle to the death. Half a year later, this demonic woman would attack Cloud Heaven City. Of course, the prerequisite was that Yang Dingtian could successfully obtain the position of Cloud Heaven City Lord. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have the qualifications to be this demonic woman's opponent. Demonic woman, when that time comes, I will really make you wish you were dead. Yang Dingtian said viciously and left the tent. When he returned to the main camp, countless admiring and strange gazes looked at Yang Dingtian. That was because many people had seen it clearly just now. A black-clothed woman walked out while carrying a delicate and beautiful woman. That beautiful woman was weak and pale as though she had been ravaged. The most terrible thing was that the black-clothed woman got rid of all the blood stains on Qin Qiqi's body, leaving only a piece on her dress. When the black-clothed woman entered the tent, her speed was very fast, and no one could see her clearly. But when she carried Qin Qiqi and left, she walked very slowly, and Yang Dingtian's men saw it clearly. At this moment, Yang Dingtian wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River. Everyone's mind was engraved with an iron-like fact. Yang Dingtian used his beauty to subdue the enemy's owner, Qin Qiqi, both physically and mentally. He took the initiative to release his mortal enemy, Yang Dingtian, and his 500 men. At this moment, the admiration of the 500 brothers for Yang Dingtian was like a torrential river that flowed endlessly. What did it mean to subdue the enemy without fighting? What did it mean to break the enemy's plan? That was it. Moreover, the enemy's owner was a soul-stirring beauty that could make one's heart tremble. Oh my God! However, the 500 brothers were still worried. After all, young Master Yang Dingtian's wife was here. In front of his wife, he made another woman bleed until she couldn't walk. Although he was brave and honorable, he would still be angry, especially since the other woman's beauty was inferior to hers. Yan Yan rushed forward on her horse. Everyone's heartstrings were pulled, waiting for the Cloud Sky City's princess to fly into a rage. Chapter 324. Bao, From afar, Madame Shimen opened her arms and ran towards Yan Yan. She then hugged her tightly. It had already been more than a year since Madame Shimen last saw her daughter, and she had long been worried sick about her daughter. After hugging Yan Yan, she didn't let go. Everyone stopped. Yang Dingtian stood at the side and watched as Yan Yan and her mother hugged and cried. In the end, Madame Shimen released her arms and hugged Yang Dingtian as well, hugging him and Yan Yan together. After Madame Shimen finished crying, Mu Liancheng and Mu Liani went forward and knelt down to greet her. Old slave Mu Liancheng greets Madame. Servant Mu Liani greets Madame. Madame Shimen quickly went forward to help the two of them up. Mu Liancheng and Madame Shimen hadn't seen each other for 20 years. Mu Liancheng sobbed and said, "Old slave earnestly requests Madam to let old slave and my daughter return to Cloud Heaven City. You are an old friend. Of course, I hope you are by my side." Madame Shimen smiled and said, "However, I am a housewife. Cloud Heaven City is under little Tian's control. Uncle Mu is an elder. With your help, of course, we would like it." Yang Dingtian smiled and said. Next, Madame Shimen, Li Guanong, and the others greeted each other. At this moment, a person in black armor came forward and said to Yang Dingtian, "Sir, since you have returned to the northwest continent, I shall return to report." This person was Qin Qiqi's trusted aide and had been following him since Luofeng City to monitor him. N. Yang Dingtian nodded. "This is a letter from my master." The black-armored person handed over a letter. Yang Dingtian opened the letter and read it. Yang Dingtian, I took the southwest, and Qin Huayu took the northwest. I used weapons, and Qin Huayu used strategies. I am greedy and want both the southwest and the northwest. Therefore, you must not let Cloud Heaven City fall into Qin Huayu's hands. This is why I let you leave the southwest continent. Finally, I have 2 sentences for you. The first sentence, your current cultivation is far from enough to win the Grand Martial contest for the position of City Lord. The second sentence, even if you lose the duel, don't fight to the death. Leave your life, I have uses for it. Qin Chi Chi. This witch's handwriting was very beautiful and graceful, unlike Dongfang Bingling's handwriting which was full of sword qi. After reading the letter, Yang Dingtian became even angrier and colder. First of all, the reason why Qin Chi Chi let him off in the southwest continent was definitely not because she had some bullshit feelings for him. The reason why she let him and his 500 brothers go was because of the internal strife in the northwest Qin city. She and Qin Huayu were fighting for power. This witch had obtained the initiative in the southwest continent, while Qin Huayu had obtained the initiative in the northwest continent. Not only did Qin Chi Chi want to monopolize the southwest continent, but she also wanted to prevent Qin Huayu from successfully taking over Cloud Heaven City. Hence, she didn't hesitate to go easy on Yang Dingtian and sabotage her own brother, Qin Huayu. Of course, Yang Dingtian was not angry about this, but the utter arrogance in her words. She saw Cloud Heaven City as something in her pocket and Yang Dingtian as a puppet. She didn't care about him at all. Yang Dingtian came in front of the black-armored man and said in a low voice, "Go back and tell your master something." "Please speak," the black-armored man said. "I will definitely rape her and kill her," Yang Dingtian said. Yang Dingtian insulted his master, but the black-armored man remained expressionless. He nodded and said, "Okay, I will pass the message." Whoosh. Then, a pair of profound chi wings suddenly appeared on the black-armored man's back, and he directly flew towards the south. This person was merely a messenger and a watcher, but he had the cultivation of a martial honorable. It could be seen how powerful the northwest Qin city was. On the way back to Stormy Valley, Yang Dingtian saw that Madame Shiman had brought over 200 people, but they were not the Black Blood Cavalry. Instead, they were a strangely dressed army. Every one of them had a fierce face, naked upper body, and hideous tattoos. He couldn't help but ask, "Madam, where is Brother Shiman lie?" "In Stormy Valley." "He has to protect the castle," Madame Shiman said. Yang Dingtian asked, "During this period of time, where have you and the Black Blood Cavalry stayed?" "Is it this Stormy Valley?" "Since half a year ago, we stopped wandering around and entered Stormy Valley," Madame Shiman said. "All the forces in the northwest continent are afraid of the northwest Qin clan. No one dared to take us in, right? Why is this Stormy Valley so daring?" Yang Dingtian asked. Stormy Valley was 3,000 miles away from Cloud Heaven City. It was considered a very strange force. If one said it was big, it was very big. It had a territory of 2,000 miles. If one said it was small, it was very small. The total number of residents in the territory was only 200,000. The reason for this was because it was located in the largest mountain range in the northwest continent, the Sunset Mountain Range. There were lofty mountains and steep ridges everywhere. It was very remote and cold. The people who lived in this mountain range had a very low level of civilization. They had always been regarded as a barbarian tribe. The Sunset Mountain Range ran through half of the northwest continent from east to west and stretched for almost 10,000 miles. It directly separated the north and south of the continent. The south had a pleasant climate. It was humid, rainy, and lush. The north was dry and had little rain. Everywhere was cracked by magma and was full of scars. However, because the south was full of hills and the north was flat, the north was more prosperous than the south. This Stormy Valley was the biggest force in the Sunset Mountain Range. It was almost completely isolated from the other forces in the northwest continent. They did not interact with each other. Furthermore, the stormy valley was full of hostility towards people outside the mountain range. Therefore, the stormy valley was probably the only force that was not afraid of the northwest Qin city. The northwest Qin city did not even have the slightest desire to conquer the stormy valley. Moreover, the current master of the stormy valley, Hua Sha, was a violent master. Therefore, basically no one was willing to provoke this solitary, barbaric, and violent tribe. However, they did not expect Madame Shiman and Shiman Lai to enter Stormy Valley. "We were forced to enter Stormy Valley," Madame Shiman said. Madame Shiman said, "More than half a year ago, Qin City had increased the destruction and annihilation of our Black Blood cavalry. Our losses were extremely huge. They fled in all directions, but could not find any place to hide. Helpless, we hid in the deep mountains and forests of the Sunset Mountain Range. Only then were we able to survive." This Hua Sha did not allow any outsiders to enter his territory. "You entered the Sunset Mountain Range. Were you not afraid that he would kill you?" Yang Dingtian asked. Madame Shiman said, "That day, we were chased for thousands of miles. We had nowhere else to go, so we fled to the Sunset Mountain Range. Not long after, we were surrounded by Hua Sha's barbarian cavalry. We were supposed to be wiped out and even eaten alive by these barbarians. In the end." Madame Shiman's face trembled slightly. Then, she said softly, "Hua Sha found me and seemed to like me very much. He wanted to marry me as his third wife. Therefore, he took us in." Yan Yan was shocked. She said softly, "Mother, you must not marry such a big demon." "Of course not." Madame Shiman's face turned red, and she said, "But, at that time, the pursuers were right behind us. Seeing that over 1,000 Black Blood cavalry were about to be wiped out, I couldn't just watch them die, so I could only feign civility with him." "What did you say then?" Yang Dingtian asked hurriedly. "I said, little Tian is now the head of the family. I need his consent before I can remarry," Madame Shiman said softly. "Ah." Yang Dingtian was shocked. Madame Shiman continued, "This person has a violent personality. He is barbaric and straightforward. At first, he was still pretending to pursue me. Later, when he saw that I did not give him any face, he felt that he had been deceived. Therefore, he became more and more impatient. A few days ago, he even found an opportunity to kill a brother of the Black Blood cavalry. Recently, he has even started to put me under house arrest. I am worried that one day, he will go berserk." Yang Dingtian asked, "Then why did he allow you to come out again this time?" Madame Shiman said, "At that time, I said that I could only remarry with your consent. Therefore, I told him that you had returned to the northwest continent and that I was going to pick you up. He was very anxious, so he sent out 200 barbarian cavalrymen. Half of them were to monitor and the other half were to protect you. He agreed to let me pick you up. Then, Big Brother Shiman Lai and more than 1,000 brothers of the Black Blood cavalry are all detained in the Stormy Valley?" Yang Dingtian asked. Madame Shiman nodded and said, "Therefore, unless you agree to his request, he will definitely let them go. Otherwise, he will definitely not let the Black Blood cavalry leave. He will even start a massacre." Yang Dingtian could not help but furrow his brows tightly. There were only 4 days left until the martial arts contest for the position of the city lord. However, such a thing happened again. "Little Tian, why don't you go to Cloud Heaven City to participate in the martial arts contest first? Then, you can come and pick us up?" Madame Shiman asked. Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, "Impossible. That lunatic, Hua Sha. If he didn't see me this time, he would have run out of patience and start a massacre on the brothers of the Black Blood cavalry. Then what should we do? We can't possibly let mother marry that beast, right?" Yan Yan said. "There will always be a way. I will go and meet him." Yang Dingtian said. Then, Yang Dingtian increased his speed and rushed towards the stormy valley. Time was tight. Before going to Cloud Heaven City, Yang Dingtian still had to go to the abandoned mine and the other side of the unfreezing pool. He had to kill the Abyss Lord and dig out the remaining 9,010,000-year-old blood metal metals. He would then use the mystic fire to forge a true soul sword. This way, he would have more confidence in defeating Shimen Ju. Yang Dingtian's speed was very fast. After 5 hours, he rushed into the stormy valley with Madame Shimen. Yan Yan, Mu Liancheng, and the 500 cavalrymen did not enter. The people in the stormy valley were all barbaric tribes. If they were to see Yan Yan's absolute beauty, there would be trouble. Furthermore, time was tight. Yang Dingtian had to settle this Huemo Sha within a day and let him release Madame Shimen and the Black Blood Cavalry. The center of the stormy valley was obviously the Stormy Castle. The so-called Stormy Castle was just a bunch of buildings made of huge wood and was built in a valley. The entire castle had less than 30,000 people living in it. Most of the people inside were topless, had terrifying tattoos, and wore all sorts of things on their noses. Just as Yang Dingtian entered the valley, he heard a thunderous voice. You are Yang Dingtian. You have the final say on Pep's matters. Alright, I will give you a choice now. Either you let me and Pep consummate tonight, or I will kill all of you and forcefully capture Pep to consummate with her. This should be the owner of the stormy valley, Huemo Sha. Chapter 325. Then, a gust of hot wind blew over. A group of nearly 1,000 wolf cavalry barbarian soldiers came over. The leader was a giant man who was more than 2 meters tall. The muscles on his body were as taut as mountains. His hair was disheveled, and his body was covered with scars. His face was not very ugly, but his nose was unusually big, which was really abrupt. The beard on his face was like steel needles. In his hand, he held a huge black iron rod, which was at least a few thousand kilograms. It was covered with terrifying barbs. Anyone who was hit by this rod would immediately be badly mutilated. Whether it was his face, facial features, or his entire body, they were all filled with violent killing intent. A timid person would probably be scared out of their wits just by looking at him. When this fire melt Mo Sha saw Madame Shimen, his gaze was fiery. After glancing at her beautiful face, his gaze landed on her moving parts without hiding it. His gaze became more and more intense, as if he wanted to directly burn her clothes. After looking for half a minute, Fire Melt Mo Sha looked at Yang Dingtian and said, You are her son-in-law, Yang Dingtian. Can you make the decision for little beauty Pepe? Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I can make the decision for my mother-in-law. Fire Melt Mo Sha said, Then it's easy. Immediately agree to the marriage between the two of us. From now on, I will be your father-in-law. If you have any problems, I will help you. Let's get married now and consummate our marriage tonight. Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, I'm afraid that's not possible. What's wrong with that? Fire-melting Mo Sha's shout was like a clap of thunder, almost deafening everyone's ears. My mother-in-law already has a husband. Yang Dingtian said. I know. Didn't he die long ago? Fire Melt Mo Sha said, It's that Shimen Wuya. He died more than a year ago. Not to mention that he's already dead. Even if he's not dead, I want this woman. Not to mention remarriage, it's normal for a woman to have 2 or 3 husbands. How about this, Fire Melt Valley Lord? I've heard that you have a son, and he's your greatest pride. He was once heavily injured by a demonic beast, and not only was his cultivation destroyed, he was even bedridden. Yang Dingtian, I can save your son. As a condition, you have to let Madame Shimen and all the Black Blood Cavalry leave. Yang Dingtian had inquired about this matter on the way. This son who was seriously injured by the demonic beasts was called Zhan Lang. He was the most outstanding son of Mo Sha, and even his successor. In your dreams. Mo Shah shouted, I have dozens of sons. If one dies, there will be dozens more. There's only one such beauty in front of me. Do you think I'm stupid enough to trade my son for a beauty? Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. This barbarian king before him was truly unimaginable. Even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its own cubs. However, this barbarian king actually didn't care about his son's life at all. Yang Dingtian wanted to negotiate again, but Mo Shah directly raised his huge magic wand and roared, if you say another word, I'll smash you into meat paste. Then, in front of everyone, I'll consummate my marriage with your mother-in-law here. Yang Dingtian immediately shut his mouth. Yang Dingtian and Madame Shimen were locked in a room. The two of them were silent. Little Tian, as a great woman, is it because you want to sacrifice yourself to save the lives of more than 1,000 black blood cavalry? Madame Shimen suddenly asked. Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, of course not. Yes, as a great woman, I have to do this. I have to marry that huge man. Madame Shimen said, I've told myself countless times that I should do this, but I just can't do it. I can't do it no matter what. Am I a selfish woman? Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, if you really want to sacrifice yourself, then I can only kill myself in front of Marshal Uncle Shimen. I can't even protect his wife. Then what should we do? Madame Shimen said, I'll fake a marriage with him and then let him release the black blood cavalry. Then. Anyway, I definitely won't let your father-in-law be humiliated. Madame Shimen's meaning was very clear. She was going to fake a marriage and let Mo Shah release the people. Then, she would commit suicide to protect her innocence. Although this barbarian king is violent, he's not stupid. He will definitely release the black blood cavalry after getting you. Yang Dingtian said, now, where are the brothers of the black blood cavalry? They are all locked in the dungeon. A few million kilograms of magma can surge out at any time and burn them alive. Shimen Lai is also there. He said that he will leave everything to you and that he will be together with his brothers. Madame Shimen said. Then, Madame Shimen looked at Yang Dingtian and suddenly said, Little Tian, if I commit suicide after being defiled, do you think I can still save my innocence? Do I still have the face to see your father-in-law? Don't even think about it. Yang Dingtian shouted. Madame Shimen immediately went forward and hugged Yang Dingtian. She cried and said, then what should I do? I can't just watch more than 1,000 brothers of the black blood cavalry die. They have already sacrificed too much and suffered too much by following me. Mother-in-law, I'll think of a way. Yang Dingtian patted Madame Shimen's back gently. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Yang Dingtian helped Madame Shimen sit up and wiped her tears. Then, he said, come in. A maid walked in. Suddenly, a fragrant wind rushed in. Looking at this maid again, Yang Dingtian was slightly stunned. Even Mo Shah's maid had such an enchanting figure. This maid was wearing beast skin, and most of her beeswax skin was exposed. She had long legs and a slim waist. Her figure was actually very attractive. Looking at this woman's face, she was even more enchanting. Yang Dingtian rarely saw such a seductive woman. She was a pure demon, even more seductive than a fox spirit. Obviously, she was definitely not a maid, and there wasn't such a beautiful and seductive maid. I am Mo Shah's wife, Jiao Yao. This woman introduced herself. Jiao Yao was obviously a barbarian name. What do you want? Yang Dingtian asked. Do you not want your woman to marry Mo Shah? Jiao Yao asked. This is my mother-in-law, Yang Dingtian said coldly. Alright, is it because you don't want your mother-in-law to marry my husband, fire-melting Masha? Snaketail said. Of course not, Yang Dingtian said. Okay, then we have common interests, Jiao Yao said. Yang Dingtian asked, do you have a way? Yes, there is a very direct way, Zhao Liao said. What way? Yang Dingtian asked. Just kill Mo Sha, Zhao Liao said. Kill him? He is a master-level powerhouse. Who can kill him? Yang Dingtian said. Of course not. He is just a 9-star martial venerable who brags that he is a master-level powerhouse. Zhao Liao said, because the grade of his Xian veins is not high enough, he can't become a master. This is his biggest regret. Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Perhaps, he had a way. Chapter 326. Madam, Huarong Mo Sha is your husband. Although he is going to marry another woman, I don't think this is enough for you to have the intention to kill him. Yang Dingtian said, therefore, I really want to know the reason why you want to kill him. Yang Dingtian stared at Zhao Liao. Of course, he was afraid that this was a trap, although the possibility was not high. Because Huarong Mo Sha had the advantage, there was no need to arrange any traps. Reason? Zhao Liao said, you know that Huarong Mo Sha has the most outstanding son, but he was injured by a monster. As a result, his cultivation is completely destroyed and he is almost dead. That Zhan Lang is my son. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, even so, you have no reason to kill Huarong Mo Sha. Zhao Liao said, Zhan Lang was injured by a monster. It was not an accident, but he was framed. The person who did it was Huarong Mo Sha. Yang Dingtian was stunned and said, that's impossible, even a vicious tiger will not eat its cubs. Zhao Liao said, because he has always suspected that Zhan Lang is not his biological son. Because Zhan Lang is very handsome and delicate, completely different from Huarong Mo Sha. And do you know who the previous master of Raging Storm Valley was? Who? Yang Dingtian. It's my father, Snake Demon Buddha. Zhao Liao said, after Huarong Mo Sha married me, he used very dishonorable means to seize the position of Valley Master. Among his many sons, Zhan Lang's performance was very outstanding. Huarong Mo Sha acted like he liked Zhan Lang, but in fact, he hated him very much. He hated him and was afraid that one day Zhan Lang would sit on the position of Valley Master. Then, is Zhan Lang Mo Sha's biological son? Yang Dingtian asked. Zhao Liao shook her head and said, of course not, that beast Huarong Mo Sha can't have such a son. Then, Zhao Liao looked at Yang Dingtian. Now, do you believe that I have the reason and determination to kill Fire Mo Sha? Yang Dingtian nodded and said, alright, since you've decided to work with me to kill Fire's Melt Mo Sha, what's your plan? Although he is not a master stage expert, he is still a 9-star martial venerable. I am not his match at all. How do you want to kill him? What's your cultivation level? Zhao Liao asked. A 9-star martial ancestor is still half a step away from becoming a martial saint. However, I can defeat a beginner martial saint. Yang Dingtian said. Ah. Madam Shimen said in surprise, Little Tian, you're actually a 9-star martial ancestor. This is too shocking. A year ago, you were only a Xian martial warrior. Yang Dingtian smiled and didn't say anything. He also didn't say that he had already broken through to martial saint and for some reason dropped to the level of a 9-star martial ancestor. But more than a year ago, Shimen Ju was already a martial saint. You're a 9-star martial ancestor, but you're still not his match. Madam Shimen said. Don't worry, mother-in-law, I still have a lot of confidence. Yang Dingtian said. Then, Yang Dingtian said to Zhao Liao, Madam, I once fought a battle between a martial saint and a half-master stage expert. 4 5-star and above martial saints were barely able to fight 1.5 master stage experts to a draw. This Fire's Melt Mo Sha is a typical half-master stage expert. If you want to kill him, you'll need at least 5 5-star and above martial saints. Then I want to know how many martial saints we have on our side. Jiao Liao said, "You're one, I'm a 3-star martial saint, your mother-in-law is one, and your Black Blood Cavalry's commander is also one. We only have 4 martial saints." Madame Shiman said, "Although we have 4 martial saints, we don't have a single 5-star martial saint or above. I originally had one, but because of the poison a year and a half ago, coupled with the fact that I'm mentally exhausted, my cultivation has been regressing. Now, I'm barely a 2-star martial saint." Yang Dingtian immediately frowned. For 2-star and 3-star martial saints against a 9-star martial saint, there was really no chance of winning. In less than 10 minutes, they would all be killed. For experts above the martial ancestor stage, even if they were 1 level higher, the difference in cultivation would be huge. In Yang Dingtian's situation, a 9-star martial ancestor being able to defeat a 2-star martial saint was completely heaven-defying. How many people could have 2 mysterious flames, a peerless treasure sword, the heaven-defying yin-yang qi transformation technique, and even lightning attribute Xian skills? Yang Dingtian had 5 trump cards, which was why he could defeat a martial artist who was 3 or 4 levels higher than him. "Madam, we're not strong enough," Yang Dingtian said straightforwardly. "That's right. Under normal circumstances, the 4 of us together wouldn't be able to kill him." Jiao Liao said, "But, I can think of a way to drink his wine and cause his cultivation to deteriorate greatly. If we use poison, we'll be discovered. He'll be very careful." Yang Dingtian said. "That's right. This beast looks violent and rough on the surface, but he's actually very cunning." Jiao Liao said, "So, we have to make him completely believe that he'll drink the poisoned wine. What do we have to do to make him completely believe?" Yang Dingtian asked. "That requires your mother-in-law to make a certain sacrifice." Jiao Liao said, "At our wedding, the bride and groom have to drink cross-cupped wine. I've already poisoned the wine. First, we have to make your mother-in-law drink it. Then, we can make him completely believe that he'll drink the poisoned wine. Then, after entering the bridal chamber, I'll suggest that the new madam and I serve him together. However, we have to do it in my room. This is a scoundrel, so he'll definitely agree. I've already prepared a secret passage in my room. You can use the secret passage to enter the room. When the poison takes effect, the 4 of us will work together to kill him." Yang Dingtian looked at Jiao Liao and asked, "What kind of poison is this? Is there an antidote?" "Ghost powder." "There's no antidote," Jiao Liao said. "What happens after being poisoned?" Yang Dingtian asked. Jiao Liao said, "After being poisoned, the entire body's profound veins will be surrounded by an evil energy. Then, the profound veins will start to wither, and the cultivation will start to deteriorate until the profound veins are completely withered." Jiao Liao finally looked at Madame Shiman and said, "In the end, the poisoned person's meridians will tighten and their body will wither to only half of its original size. Their cultivation will be completely destroyed." "I'm willing, little Tian." Madame Shiman said straightforwardly, "I'm willing. My only wish now is for you to take back the Lord of Cloud Heaven City and quickly have a baby with Yan Yan. As long as these wishes are fulfilled, I can't wait to see your martial uncle Shiman. I'm willing to do this." Yang Dingtian frowned and said, "Can you do this? Do something to the cup and create a mechanism. The wine my mother-in-law drinks is not poisonous. When she drinks it and hands it to Hurong Mo Sha, she can activate the mechanism and release the poison." "Impossible," Jiao Liao said, "because I've been raising this cup for a few years. The wine is not poisonous, but the cup is poisonous. I've been waiting for his wedding day for many years. Because every time he gets married, he will use that profound jade cold ice cup." Yang Dingtian's heart instantly turned cold. This Jiao Liao was indeed planning to kill Hurong Mo Sha. Many years ago, she had already started preparing. She raised the poison in the cup so that Hurong Mo Sha could drink it during his wedding. Only this kind of poison is effective on an expert like him. Otherwise, no matter what kind of poison it is, as long as he feels that something is wrong after drinking it, he can immediately use his profound qi to force it out, Jiao Liao said. This ghost powder was of course a strange poison, but it couldn't be compared to the deep-sea xian poison. Of course, it couldn't be compared to the dark crystal either. Little Tian, let me do it, Madame Shimen said. I'm willing to be poisoned. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, Mother-in-law, actually, even if you are poisoned, I'm 100% sure that I can cure you. Impossible. Jiao Liao said, there's no cure for ghost powder. If I say I can cure it, then I can cure it, Yang Dingtian said. That's right. As long as little Tian says something, even if it's impossible, he can do it, Madame Shimen said. Since it's like this, little Tian, you should agree to this plan even more. Yang Dingtian thought for a while and shook his head. I don't agree. Why? Why? Madame Shimen and Jiao Liao asked in unison. Getting married is a very sacred matter. I don't want you to get married to Hurong Imo Sha. If you do that, I won't have the face to see Martial Uncle Shimen, Yang Dingtian said. But, this is fake. I'm forced to save people, Madame Shimen said. Yang Dingtian, don't be so pedantic. It's very disappointing, Jiao Liao shouted coldly. Yang Dingtian said, I have another way to deal with Hurong Imo Sha. However, I need your cooperation. Really? Jiao Liao asked, how confident are you? 80%. Yang Dingtian said, or even higher. Jiao Liao's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up, and she said, if I had 30% confidence, I would dare to fight with my life on the line, let alone 80%. Tell me the plan. Yang Dingtian moved closer to the two of them, lowered his voice, and told them the entire plan. 3 minutes later, Yang Dingtian finished telling them the entire plan. Jiao Liao's expression became more and more joyful, and she said, you can really weaken him by 30%. Yes, Yang Dingtian said. Okay, then it's settled. This beast is dead for sure this time, Jiao Liao said. Okay, then let's split up. Yang Dingtian said, Mother-in-law, go dress up, and go to Jiao Liao's room to make the necessary preparations. Madame Shimen's beautiful face turned slightly red, and she said, really do we have to do this? Won't it damage your reputation? I don't care. Yang Dingtian then said to Jiao Liao, Madam, I'll give you a token. Think of a way to give it to Shimen Lai, and then think of a way to bring him here. Jiao Liao said, that's easy, I'll do it immediately. After saying that, Jiao Liao took out a thin mask and put it on, turning into an ordinary maid, and walked out. When she reached the door, Jiao Liao's beautiful eyes revealed a hint of flirtatiousness, and she said, in order to make it look real, when we do that thing later, it's best to make it look real. Madame Shimen's face turned red, and after she left, she muttered, this woman is really shameless. An hour later, 4 women came in with all kinds of clothes in their hands, and they said, we'll help third Madam bathe and change clothes. Madam, please. Yang Dingtian said, please tell Hurong Imo Sha that I have something to tell him. Sorry. A middle-aged woman said, our king said that before he consummates with the new madam, he doesn't want to see you, and he doesn't want to say anything to you. If you let us pass the message, he'll cut out our tongues. Yang Dingtian said, don't worry, if I let you pass the message, not only will you not be punished, but you will also be greatly rewarded. Just tell him that I have a way to let him break through to the master level and become a real master level powerhouse. The middle-aged woman was stunned, and then a light flashed in her eyes. She knew Hurong Imo Sha quite well. Although this valley master was called a master-level powerhouse, he was a 9-star revered martial artist, and seemed to be very close to the master level, but he was still unable to cross it. This could be said to be his biggest regret. Breaking through to the master level was Hurong Imo Sha's biggest wish, and it definitely surpassed marrying Yang Peipei. Then, the middle-aged woman shook her head and said, sorry, I won't pass the message for you. Yang Dingtian directly took out a handful of purple gold coins from his bosom, and there were at least a few thousand gold coins. For these people in front of him, it was almost 10 lifetimes worth of wealth. He directly stuffed the purple gold coins into the middle-aged woman's hand and said, "After you pass the message, I'll give you the other purple gold coins. With so much money, I think it won't matter even if your tongue is cut off." The middle-aged woman's eyes suddenly lit up, and an extremely greedy look burst out, but she also looked at the 3 women beside her with some worry. Yang Dingtian took out a few more purple gold coins and gave one to each of the 3 women. "Now, absolutely no one will know that you took my money," Yang Dingtian said. The 3 women nodded desperately. The middle-aged woman put the purple gold coins into her bosom and said, "Young master, please wait a moment, I'll pass the message for you now." Only 10 minutes later, the middle-aged woman returned. Her tongue was not cut off, and her face was full of excitement as she said, "Young master, my king invites you over." Then, she immediately looked at Yang Dingtian eagerly. Yang Dingtian directly took out a handful of purple gold coins and stuffed it into her hand. "Thank you, young master, thank you, young master." The middle-aged woman directly knelt down to thank him, and she was so excited that her whole body trembled. Then, he took out another purple gold coin and gave one to each of the 3 maids. Immediately, the 3 maids all knelt down to thank him. "None of you are barbarians from the Sunset Mountain Range, right?" Yang Dingtian asked. "No, we are all poor people at the foot of the mountain." The king felt that the women in the mountains did not know how to serve people, so he half bought and half robbed us and brought us here. The middle-aged woman said. "After you get this money, think of a way to leave here and return to your hometown to live." Yang Dingtian said. "That's for sure." The middle-aged woman said, "This servant will not be able to spend this money in 10 lifetimes. Who would be willing to be a barbarian servant?" "Yes, yes." The other 3 women nodded, and their eyes were full of longing. Even if it was 2 purple gold coins, it was enough for a family of 4 or 5 to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. 10 minutes later, Yang Dingtian saw Huemo Sha again in his incomparably huge palace. Huemo Sha took out a piece of paper, and with a stroke of his chi, the paper immediately burned. "You said that you have a way to help me break through to the master level. Convince me before this paper burns, or I will smash you into a pulp." Huemo Sha said coldly, raising a huge magic wand in his hand. Chapter 327. The whole piece of paper burned up in less than 15 seconds. By the time Mo Sha finished speaking, half of it had already passed. "You have inferior 7th grade Xian veins, so you can't break through to the Grandmaster realm," Yang Dingtian said. "Nonsense, do you think I don't know?" Mo Sha shouted angrily. This was the most painful part in his heart. He was already 60 years old. More than 10 years ago, he had a fortuitous encounter and broke through to the 9-star Marshal Venerable. Then, in the past 10 years, he had not made any progress. He didn't know how many pills and treasures he had used, but his cultivation had not made any progress. Because he had inferior 7th grade Xian veins, the 9-star Marshal Venerable in front of him was already his limit. At this time, 3/4 of the paper had been burned. "I can help you improve the grade of your Xian veins," Yang Dingtian said. At this time, the paper was almost burned up. Mo Sha's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and the magic wand smashed towards Yang Dingtian's head, not listening to a word of explanation. Because he felt that Yang Dingtian's words were extremely ridiculous. Improve the Xian veins? He had almost never heard of fire-melting Masha. He had only seen it in some ancient records. Even a Grandmaster realm expert could not help people improve the grade of their Xian veins, let alone a mere 20-year-old child. The furious Mo Sha felt that he had been deceived and teased, and directly wanted to smash Yang Dingtian to death. Yang Dingtian stood there motionless, and directly took out something from his arms. Crystal clear, purple light overflowed. It was only an inch, but it lit up the entire palace. Inside the 1-inch crystal, there seemed to be countless energy flashing, as if countless stars were breathing and shining. Mo Sha stopped his hand, and the magic wand stopped an inch away from Yang Dingtian's head. The strong wind directly blew Yang Dingtian's face, and he felt a sharp pain, and blood flowed out from his mouth and nose. Mo Sha did not know what it was, but he could see that it was a treasure, and an extremely rare treasure. "What is this?" Mo Sha asked. "The Naga's Xian veins." Yang Dingtian said. "What?" Fire Melt Mo Sha was immediately shocked and surprised. He looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief, and said in a trembling voice, "The profound veins of the Naga race?" "Impossible. How did the ancient Naga race's Xian veins end up in your hands?" "That's impossible. They're demigods." Yang Dingtian said indifferently, "I just came out from the Netherworld Sea." Mo Sha was stunned. The Netherworld Sea was world famous. Especially in the hearts of people like Mo Sha, the Netherworld Sea was omnipotent. It possessed all the treasures in the world. It was the most mysterious and powerful place. If it was really the Naga's Xian veins, then it would not be a problem for him to break through to the Master Realm. If there was one thing in the world that could increase the grade of Xian veins, it would undoubtedly be the Naga's Xian veins. This matter was recorded in many ancient books. The Naga's Xian veins were almost the only treasure that could raise the grade of Xian veins. This inch of purple Naga's Xian veins is enough for you to break through to the 8th grade, even if it's only the lower grade. But it's more than enough for you to break through to the Master Realm. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, "If you let go of my mother-in-law and all the black blood cavalry, I'll give you this inch of purple Naga's Xian veins." Mo Sha's whole body trembled, and his eyes lit up. At this time, he really threw all the beauties aside. Compared to breaking through to the Master Realm, what were beauties? For more than 10 years, his cultivation had not improved at all. Today, he was finally going to break through to the Master Realm. After the ecstasy and excitement, Mo Sha's face suddenly revealed an incomparably cunning light, and his palm suddenly opened. Swoosh! An incomparably powerful energy sucked this inch of purple Naga's Xian veins from Yang Dingtian's hand. Mo Sha grabbed this inch of purple Naga's Xian veins. His eyes were incomparably infatuated and fanatical. He moved closer and admired it desperately. "How is it? Valley Master, do you agree to my deal?" Yang Dingtian sneered. "Ha ha ha." Mo Sha laughed wildly and said, "In your dreams, idiot. I want this purple Naga's Xian veins, but your mother-in-law, I'm still going to marry and sleep with her. If you don't want to die, leave immediately and wait for my wedding wine. Otherwise, I'll smash you into meat paste right now." Yang Dingtian smiled faintly. He had long been mentally prepared for Mo Sha's shamelessness. "Valley Master, you're turning hostile too quickly." Yang Dingtian sneered. "I've never been hypocritical. I've always been straightforward and shameless." Mo Sha said proudly, "Now that this Naga's Xian veins is in my hands, do you still want to take it away?" Yang Dingtian smiled and said, "Valley Master, this Naga's Xian veins is in your hands. But it's useless." Mo Sha said angrily, "What did you say? What trick do you want to play?" "I'll smash you to death. Because you've melted this Naga's Xian veins, so you can't absorb its energy." Yang Dingtian said. "I don't believe it." Mo Sha roared. Immediately, he activated his Xian Qi. In an instant, his huge palm suddenly turned red. Yang Dingtian could clearly feel that the temperature was getting higher and higher. In the end, Mo Sha's palm was completely red and grabbed the devil's palm. Suddenly, the black iron devil's palm also turned red. "Ha, Do you know how high the temperature of this black iron needs to be to turn red? You actually said that I can't melt this Xian veins, ha. Huemo Sha laughed crazily. Yang Dingtian could see that this black iron needed about 5,000 degrees to melt. And this Huemo Sha, with just his Xian Qi and heart fire, could increase the temperature to 5,000 degrees. It was really shocking. It could be seen that he was jealous of the extreme Yang's martial arts. Then, Huemo Sha used his burning red palm to grab this purple Naga's Xian veins, trying to melt it. Yang Dingtian laughed inwardly. Really, the ignorant were fearless. With just his Xian Qi and heart fire, he couldn't even heat up the bloody black gold. He wanted to melt the Naga's Xian veins, what a dream. Ordinary Xian fire couldn't melt the purple Naga's Xian veins. Huemo Sha tried his best, but this purple Naga's Xian veins were still cold and didn't have any reaction. Ah! Huemo Sha roared, and the flames on his body burned fiercely. Suddenly, the table and chair beside him couldn't withstand such a high temperature and began to carbonize. And the black iron devil's staff in his other hand turned red. Huemo Sha had reached his limit. However, this purple Naga's Xian veins were still cold. Finally, Huemo Sha gave up. He knew in his heart that he couldn't melt this Naga's Xian veins. Yang Dingtian, you have a way to melt this Naga's Xian veins? Huemo Sha asked coldly, his eyes full of disdain and doubt. Of course. Yang Dingtian said. Dream on. Huemo Sha sneered, what's my cultivation and what's your cultivation? I can't do it. You want to melt this Naga's Xian veins? You're dreaming. Of course I can do it. Yang Dingtian said, because I have the Xian fire. What? Huemo Sha was shocked. What? You have the Xian fire? No wonder Huemo Sha had such a huge reaction. Because the Xian fire was almost every warrior's dream. Having the Xian fire almost meant the birth of a great grandmaster. Of course, Huemo Sha didn't know about such a mysterious force like the Netherworld Sea. But in this world, Huemo Sha could defeat anyone who had the Xian fire with one hand. Even in the northwest Qin city, such a powerful force, only Qin Wanqiu had the Xian fire. And as the number 2 expert of Qin city, Qin Wumian didn't have the Xian fire even though he was an 8-star Great Grandmaster, so he couldn't break through to the Great Grandmaster level. And this kid in front of him actually said that he had the Xian fire. A 20-year-old kid actually said that he had the Xian fire. Even Dongfang Bingling didn't have the Xian fire. Kid, you're dreaming. Huemo Sha laughed, if you have the Xian fire, I'll have the fucking sword soul and break through to the Great Grandmaster level. Huemo Sha would rather die than believe that this kid had the Xian fire. Yang Dingtian didn't explain. His finger gently moved, and suddenly, a flame soared into the sky. It was bright red and incomparably beautiful. Huemo Sha's eyes trembled, then he sneered, how can you prove that this is the Xian fire? It's clearly an ordinary heart fire. Swoosh. Yang Dingtian lightly pointed. Immediately, the Xian fire turned into a light sword, shooting through Huemo Sha's Xian iron wand. Silently, the Xian fire directly passed through the Xian iron wand, instantly burning a hole in the wand. That piece of Xian iron almost directly vaporized and disappeared. Huemo Sha was shocked. Only the Xian fire could do this. Instantly burning through his Xian iron wand, what kind of terrifying temperature was this? This kid in front of him indeed had the Xian fire. Immediately, Huemo Sha's heart was filled with boundless jealousy and hatred. Why? Based on what? He was already 60 years old, and he was the master of the Storm Valley. Why couldn't he obtain the Xian fire? And this kid who was still wet behind his ears could actually obtain the Xian fire. Why? Instantly, Huemo Sha's heart was filled with soaring killing intent. After a full few minutes, he suppressed the killing intent in his heart and said to Yang Dingtian with a smile, "How about we make a deal? You melt this inch of Naga's Xian vein, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll tear you into pieces." Yang Dingtian couldn't help but gasp in amazement at his shameless face. Yang Dingtian said coldly, "Let go of my mother-in-law, let go of all the black blood cavalry, let me take them away, and I'll help you melt Naga's Xian vein." "No, don't push your luck." Huemo Sha shouted fiercely, "I can let you and all the black blood cavalry go, but I must have your mother-in-law." Yang Dingtian said coldly, "Let go of my mother-in-law, let go of the black blood cavalry, and I'll help you melt Naga's Xian vein. I'll smash you into minced meat right now." Huemo Sha roared, and then smashed down with his Xian iron wand that was still completely red. Yang Dingtian stood there without moving, and only looked at Huemo Sha coldly. This barbarian king naturally wouldn't kill Yang Dingtian. His demonic palm stopped an inch away from Yang Dingtian's head, and said coldly, "Okay, I promise you." "You swear?" Yang Dingtian said. "I swear, if Yang Dingtian helps me melt this section of Naga's Xian vein, I'll let go of Yang Peipei and all the black blood cavalry. If I go against my oath, I'll let my ancestors never rest in peace and never be reincarnated." Huemo Sha's eyes were filled with killing intent, and he shouted loudly to finish his oath. "Okay, our deal is a success," Yang Dingtian said. Then, Yang Dingtian stretched out his hand. Huemo Sha said, "Melt it in my hands." Yang Dingtian sneered, and then summoned the Xian fire again, condensing it into a ball. Whoosh! The condensed million spirit demon fire suddenly drilled into that inch of Naga's Xian vein. Suddenly, this section of Naga's Xian vein burst out with incomparably bright light, illuminating the entire palace to the point that it was almost impossible to see anything. Huemo Sha's eyes were filled with amazement and jealousy, and he looked at all of this with fanaticism. When the Naga's Xian vein reached its peak, it exploded with a loud bang. Suddenly, countless purple rays of light burst out, covering Huemo Sha's entire body, fiercely spreading, almost bursting the entire palace. Quickly condense them, or I'll tear you to pieces," Huemo Sha roared. Seeing countless Naga's Xian vein photons desperately escaping, his heart ached. These were all treasures of heaven and earth. He desperately swallowed these purple photons. After the purple Xian vein energy entered the Xian vein, it immediately started to take effect. Huemo Sha felt his Xian vein start to heat up, starting to regenerate and reconstruct. This was real, this was the real Naga's Xian vein, it could really raise the grade of Xian vein. Although the process was incomparably painful, even more painful than cleansing the marrow and meridians, he could clearly feel his Xian vein start to improve and sublimate. This kind of pain, as a 9-star honorable martial artist, was still bearable. What made his heart ache was that countless purple Xian vein photons were crazily overflowing, and he could not swallow them no matter how hard he tried. "Quickly think of a way to retrieve these Xian vein energy, or else I'll kill all of you, and rape your mother-in-law first before killing her," Huemo Sha roared violently. "Don't be anxious." Yang Dingtian sneered in his heart, and summoned the darkness profound flame from his spatial ring, and then the million spirit demon fire. Immediately, countless purple Xian vein energy photons started to condense towards the profound flame. In a short few seconds, all of the escaping Xian vein energy photons flew back into the profound flame, turning into a purple ball of light. Although this purple ball of light was a little strange, and it even had a faint black color, making it look even more mysterious. But at this time, the fanatical Huemo Sha already completely did not notice it. "My profound flame won't be able to last for too long," Yang Dingtian said indifferently, "so, you have to swallow this purple ball of light, and then reconstruct your Xian vein bit by bit. This process will be very, very painful, 10,000 times more painful than cleansing the marrow and meridians." Huemo Sha nodded and shouted, "Elders, come and protect me." Immediately, 4 figures flew out from the shadows of the imperial palace. Every one of them was an honorable martial artist, and they sat around Huemo Sha. Remember, when this ball of light enters my mouth later, if I die, I will tear this Yang Dingtian into pieces. Huemo Sha said. Yes. The 4 honorable martial artists' elders said in unison. Huemo Sha opened his mouth and said, "All right, release it." Yang Dingtian pushed his palm, and the purple ball of light suddenly drilled into Huemo Sha's mouth. Then, Yang Dingtian withdrew the million spirit demon fire and darkness profound flame as quickly as possible. Boom! Countless purple Xian vein energy photons suddenly exploded in Huemo Sha's body. Ah! A miserable howl sounded. Immediately, countless cracks appeared on Huemo Sha's body, and blood spurted out. The 4 elders' expressions changed, and they wanted to smash Yang Dingtian to death. Huemo Sha's body was distorted, and it was obvious that he was enduring hellish pain. Fortunately, he was a 9-star honorable martial artist, and he only had 1 inch of purple Naga Xian vein. If it was Yang Dingtian, he would not be able to withstand such a huge impact. Soon, Huemo Sha desperately devoured the Xian vein energy. Countless Naga Xian vein factors slowly transformed Huemo Sha's Xian vein. Gradually, Huemo Sha's pain weakened. 10 minutes later, his body was no longer distorted, and he sat cross-legged on the ground, continuing to devour the Xian vein energy and transform his own Xian vein. Yang Dingtian said, "Lord Valley Master, you should have felt the energy of the purple Naga Xian vein by now. You should fulfill your promise. I will take my leave." Huemo Sha did not open his eyes, and directly stretched out his hand and cut his neck. His intention was very obvious, and that was to kill Yang Dingtian. This person was really shameless, breaking the oath he made, and directly wanting to kill Yang Dingtian. The 4 honorable martial artists stood up, pulled out their sharp swords, and were about to kill Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian was already prepared for this scene, and said with a cold smile, "Lord Valley Master, I forgot to tell you something. I actually have 1 inch of purple Naga Xian vein, which is enough for you to break through to the 8th grade. You can even break through to the 8th star honorable master." After that, Yang Dingtian took out another inch of purple Naga Xian vein from his spatial ring, and flashed. Huemo Sha quickly waved his hand, stopping the 4 honorable martial artists from killing Yang Dingtian. Of course, even if you snatch this purple Naga Xian vein now, it will be useless, because only I can use Xian fire to melt it. Yang Dingtian said, "In view of your shamelessness, I have decided to wait until you release my mother-in-law and everyone else, then I will melt it and give it to you." Then, Yang Dingtian turned and walked out. "Then, I will take my leave now." After that, Yang Dingtian did not stay any longer, and directly left the imperial palace. Huemo Sha's body trembled, and his heart was filled with murderous intent. He had already decided that he would not let Yang Dingtian leave alive. As for the other inch of purple Naga Xian vein, it was very simple. He would capture Yang Peipei and strip her naked. If Yang Dingtian did not melt it and hand over that inch of purple Naga Xian vein, he would torture Yang Peipei to death. Without a doubt, Yang Dingtian would definitely compromise. "Idiot, you want to fight with me? I'll make you beg for death, but you can't die. After you melt the other inch of purple Naga Xian vein for me, I will ravage your mother-in-law again and again in front of you, and let you die in pain and humiliation," Huemo Sha said fiercely. Then, he hurriedly swallowed the energy of this inch of purple Naga Xian vein, and continuously transformed his own Xian vein. Of course, what he did not know was that the world's most terrifying energy black hole had already seeped into his Xian vein. Not long after Yang Dingtian left the imperial palace, a woman came over and said, "Young master, the madams are ready, you should go immediately." Then, the maid led the way in front. Yang Dingtian followed her to the east corner of the castle, inside a fragrant courtyard. "Madam, I'm here," Yang Dingtian said. At this time, there was no one in the courtyard. "Young master, come in. Let's make the show real, and let you see my unique ability." An incomparably charming voice came from inside. "Shameless woman." There was also a very shy and soft voice. Chapter 328. Yang Dingtian, Jiao Liao, Madame Shimen, Shimen Lai. The four of them circulated their profound qi to the extreme and prepared their strongest profound skill-killing moves. Yang Dingtian held Ah Chao's youngling sword in his right hand and circulated the energy of million spirit demon fire to the extreme. The 8th grade Devil Flame Island Art's third move, Devil Calamity Prison Splitting Blade, was also prepared. The reason why he didn't use Devil from the Heart was because the time required was too long and there were too many requirements for the target. On the left and right, he circulated the lightning attribute Mountain Split to the extreme. Normally, Yang Dingtian would never use lightning attribute profound skill because it might expose his identity as the hidden sect's disciple, which was very fatal. But now, in order to kill Huemo Sha, he had to use this move. Although Huemo Sha's body was penetrated by the energy black hole and he suffered great pain from the transformation of his profound veins. So his current cultivation was far from his peak. But he still couldn't be underestimated. Yang Dingtian had to use lightning attribute profound skill to tear apart his defense. The four of them held their breaths, waiting for the moment to kill. "Bitch, I'll kill you," Huemo Sha roared furiously. Carrying a soaring murderous aura, he turned into a raging fire and charged into the room. Boom! Instantly, the sturdy wall shattered into pieces. Huemo Sha charged in like a wild beast, raised his huge devil wand and smashed it on the bed. Mountain Split, the lightning attribute profound skill in Yang Dingtian's left hand, suddenly struck out. Instantly, an incomparably huge lightning struck down on Huemo Sha's head. Lightning attribute profound skill ignored any defense. Moreover, Yang Dingtian's cultivation was already infinitely close to revered martial artist. So the power of this lightning strike was extremely huge. After Huemo Sha was concentrated, the raging fire shield on his body instantly extinguished. His beast-like huge body was instantly paralyzed. Yang Dingtian's lightning attribute profound skill couldn't kill him, or even seriously injure him, but it could tear apart his energy defense and paralyze him to the ground. This was enough. Kill, after the lightning strike. Yang Dingtian's youngling sword slashed down. Demonic prison splitting saber. Instantly, a set of huge black and red flaming sabers slashed down at Fire's Melt Mo Sha. At the same time, Shimen Lai, Madame Shimen, and Jiao Liao unleashed their strongest profound skills at the same time. Madame Shimen's profound skill was a red sleeve of light that fiercely wrapped around the neck of the fire-melting Masha. Shimen Lai's profound skill was a gigantic light sword that descended from the sky. On the other hand, Jiao Liao's profound skill was countless light shadow illusionary snakes that drilled through the fire-melting Masha's body. Furthermore, these light shadow illusionary snakes were poisonous. This was because Snake-tailed Jiao practiced the art of poison. Being attacked by four profound skills, Fiery Molten Sand's enormous body shook violently. Its eyes, which were the size of copper bells, suddenly widened and shot out rays of disbelief. Boom! For enormous bursts of energy suddenly drilled into his body, violently tearing apart his internal organs, his profound veins, and his sea of energy. PFFF, no! An intense roar rang out. Blood spurted out from Fiery Molten Sand's 7 orifices like arrows. At first, it was bright red, then purple red, and then black red. At the same time, Fiery Molten Sand's body instantly turned black. He had been poisoned by Jiao Liao. At this moment, Fiery Molten Sand's eyes were filled with blood. He stared at Yang Dingtian and said coldly, "You tricked me?" "That's right, I tricked you." Yang Dingtian said coldly, "Don't you feel that your cultivation has deteriorated greatly?" It directly went from a 9-star revered martial artist to a 5-star revered martial artist. Coupled with the pain of reconstructing the profound veins, your cultivation is even more unbearable. That inch of purple Naga's profound veins are fake? Fiery molten sand asked. Of course it's real. Yang Dingtian, but, I poisoned it, a poison that will devour all of your profound energy. I understand, you are indeed sinister and powerful. Fiery molten sand said. Then, Fiery molten sand looked at Jiao Liao and said, You betrayed me? Yes, I betrayed you. Jiao Liao said in a coquettish voice, and even had a lustful smile on her face. You didn't sleep with Yang Dingtian. You were just acting to kill me. You didn't sleep with him, did you? Fiery molten sand said. Is that important? We want to kill you. Why do you care if I didn't sleep with him? Jiao Liao said. Of course it is important. My woman can't be slept with by other men. Fiery molten sand said. Then don't worry, I will definitely make you wear a green hat. Jiao Liao said, I will definitely find a man and let him enjoy every inch of my body. In bed, I will definitely be 100 times more slutty. Fiery molten sand immediately roared when he heard this. Immediately, blood spurted out of his mouth. You harmed my father, you harmed my son. You should have known that this day would come. Jiao Liao said coldly, I have been waiting for this day for many years. In my dreams, I want to kill you all the time. Today, I finally get what I want. Fiery molten sand immediately looked at Madame Shiman and said, I really regret it. I really regret that I didn't force myself on you. Otherwise, I would have slept with you thousands of times. Impossible. Madame Shiman said coldly, before you tainted me, I had already become a corpse. I will definitely not betray my husband, even if I am forced. My husband is not like you. He is an indomitable hero, so I will keep my chastity for him. Not like you, your wife not only wants to make you wear a green hat, but also wants to kill you. Fiery molten sand ignored Madame Shiman's words. Instead, he looked directly at Yang Dingtian and said coldly, I regret that I didn't smash you to death just now. Because you are blinded by greed. Yang Dingtian sneered. However, it is still not too late now. It is still not too late. Suddenly, Fiery molten sand's face became extremely ferocious and fierce. His eyes seemed to shoot out 2 balls of flames. Let's all die together. Let's all die together, Fiery molten sand laughed loudly. His eyes were filled with endless killing intent, and his whole body emitted an extremely dangerous aura. Jiao Liao's expression changed, and she said, Not good, he is going to explode his sea of qi. Run. Even if Fiery molten sand's cultivation had regressed to a 4-star revered martial artist, his sea of qi was still extremely shocking. Once he exploded, Yang Dingtian and the other 3 basically had no chance of survival. Want to run? It is too late. Fiery molten sand roared, You are really stupid. Why didn't you just kill me directly? You actually made me talk so much and gave me the chance to burn my sea of qi with my heart fire and explode it. Let's all die together. Let's all die together. Fiery molten sand's body emitted a terrifying red light. Then, he pounced in the direction of Yang Dingtian and Madame Shiman. Madame Shiman's beautiful face was pale. Fiery molten sand was about to explode his sea of qi and die together with everyone. At this moment, Yang Dingtian sneered, Let's all die together. Stop dreaming. Then, Yang Dingtian waved his hand. Boom. Suddenly, a bright red flame burned out of Fiery molten sand's stomach and directly burned through his sea of qi. What exploding his sea of qi? Don't even think about it. This was the secret move of the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art, Birth of Demon from the Heart. In the beginning, Yang Dingtian could not use this move. Because once it was discovered by the enemy, he could immediately stop it. Right now, Huemo Sha was bent on perishing together with Yang Dingtian. He had completely disregarded the Qi vessel's defense. Therefore, Yang Dingtian had cast birth from the devil's heart, and it had burned through his Qi vessel and abdomen. Fiery molten sand looked at his sea of Qi and lower abdomen that were burned through. At this moment, he could no longer feel the existence of his sea of Qi. He could clearly feel that his profound veins were rapidly withering. No, no. Fiery molten sand roared unwillingly. Countless amounts of blood spurted out. At this moment, he had completely changed from a 9-star revered martial artist to a useless trash without the strength to truss a chicken. Yang Dingtian stepped forward and withdrew the birth of demon from the heart mystic flame. Originally, birth of demon from the heart could not be stopped or withdrawn. But ever since he had the mystic flame, Yang Dingtian could freely release and withdraw it. Then, he let fiery molten sand consume a saint's spirit pill. He could not let him die like this. Come, let's go out. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, if you want to leave Raging Storm Valley smoothly, there is still one last test. Yang Dingtian, Jiao Liao, Madame Shiman, and Shiman Lai walked out of the courtyard. At this moment, the courtyard was surrounded by thousands of people. 5 revered martial elders, more than a dozen martial ancestor realm experts, more than 100 martial mystic realm experts, and thousands of barbarian cavalry surrounded Yang Dingtian and the other 3. When Yang Dingtian and the other 3 came out, everyone immediately raised their weapons and aimed at Yang Dingtian. A great battle was about to break out. You killed our valley master. An old man stepped forward and asked. He is not dead yet. Yang Dingtian said. The old man said coldly, you just barged into Raging Storm Valley and killed our valley master. We will definitely trample you into meat paste. You can't do it. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, we have 4 revered martial artists and 5 of you. So, you can't kill us. So, I will make a deal with you here. Release my 1,000 over black blood cavalry and I will return fiery sand to you. He is already trash. What do we need him for? The old man said coldly. The barbarians were so snobbish and ruthless. If you are smart enough, you should know clearly that your biggest enemy is not me, but your inner circle. Once fiery sand is finished, someone will have to become the new valley master. Don't tell me that you will use up most of your strength to help someone else. Yang Dingtian sneered. The faces of the experts from Raging Storm Valley changed slightly. Of course, they knew this logic. Moreover, Yang Dingtian was right. The most important thing now was to fight for the position of valley master. Jiao Liao, where is your son? Yang Dingtian suddenly asked. Jiao Liao was slightly stunned, then shouted, dummy, bring wolf cub out. Oh. In the distance, a strong man responded loudly. After a while, a huge strong man ran over with a dying young man on his back. This strong man was Jiao Liao's most loyal servant, called Dummy. Because there was something wrong with his brain, he was always loyal and would never betray. The 18-year-old young man on his back was Zhan Lang. He was once the most outstanding young man in Raging Storm Valley and the most outstanding son of Fiery Sand. However, he did not look like Fiery Sand's son. He did not look like a barbarian. Instead, he looked like someone from outside the mountains. He was very delicate and pretty. However, he was on the verge of death. He was so thin that only bones were left. When he saw his mother, he could not even open his eyes, let alone speak. It made people suspect that he would die at any time. Seeing her son, Snaketail's tender tears immediately gushed out. As everyone knows, Jiao Liao's son, Zhan Lang, was seriously injured by a demon beast. His cultivation was completely destroyed and he was in critical condition. Everyone knows that he can't be saved. Yang Dingtian said. Everyone present nodded. Everyone knew about this matter. Jiao Liao did not know how much she had to pay, but she could not save her son's life. At this time, young Ding Tian took out a small pill from his arms and stuffed it directly into Zhang Lang's mouth. Then, he directly pushed the pill into Zhang Lang's stomach with his profound qi. He used his profound qi to catalyze the holy water inside and let it permeate throughout his body. In just a few minutes, a miracle appeared. Zhang Lang's pale and terrible skin actually recovered its rosy color. The originally thin skin and flesh gradually recovered its elasticity. A strong vitality was revived in Zhang Lang's body. Everyone was stunned and looked at the miracle in front of them in disbelief. Jiao Liao, who was in ecstasy, was completely shocked. Although she begged young Ding Tian to save her son, in fact, she did not have much hope in her heart. Who would have thought that young Ding Tian would be so amazing that he could save her son in such a short time? It was completely a miracle. After opening his eyes, Zhang Lang seemed to have slept for too long. His eyes were confused and finally, his gaze fell on his mother. Little wolf. Snake Tail let out a mournful cry and pounced on Zhang Lang, hugging him tightly in her arms. At this time, all the thousands of people on the field stared blankly at Yang Dingtian. They were completely stunned by Yang Dingtian's means. I don't know who among you will be the final winner and who will become the new Valley Master. Yang Dingtian said, but all of this has nothing to do with me. I don't want to interfere in any of your Stormy Valley's affairs. However, no matter who becomes the new Valley Master, they will be my allies. I will give you a holy water divine pill for free, a divine pill that can bring the dead back to life. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. With such a pill, it was almost equivalent to having an extra life. Who wouldn't be envious and crazy? Do you want to make this deal? Yang Dingtian said, no matter who becomes the Valley Master of the Stormy Valley, they will be Cloud Sky City's allies. I will immediately give you the divine pill. Do you want to make this deal? Suddenly, the 5 elders present looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with vigilance and danger. Of course, it was not directed at Yang Dingtian but at each other. The 5 elders represented the 5 biggest forces in the Stormy Valley. The Valley Master of the Stormy Valley would definitely be one of the 5. Therefore, they were each other's biggest enemies. If they killed Yang Dingtian in order to avenge Mo Sha, the price they would have to pay was too high. It was not worth it. Moreover, Yang Dingtian's last condition made their hearts burn with passion. Whoever became the Valley Master would be able to obtain a divine pill. At this moment, none of the 5 elders were willing to offend Yang Dingtian. After all, they had 4 martial honorables on their side. It was impossible to kill them. The 5 of them nodded at the same time and said, we agree. Yang Dingtian stepped forward and high-fived the 5 elders, happy deal. Then, he placed the dazed Mo Sha on the ground and said, I'll return the Valley Master of the Stormy Valley to you. Please release over 1,000 of my Black Blood Cavalry brothers. The 5 elders nodded and took out 5 tokens. They handed them to a barbarian and said, release all the Black Blood Cavalry and return all their weapons and horses. Yes. The barbarian held the token and flew away. After an hour, Yang Dingtian saw the 1,000 over Black Blood Cavalry brothers. Their faces were filled with anger and unwillingness. The reason why they were disarmed was not because they were weak. In fact, even though the Stormy Valley had tens of thousands of barbarian cavalrymen, it was not easy to annihilate the 2,000 over Black Blood Cavalry. However, Madame Shiman had fallen into the hands of Mo Sha and the Black Blood Cavalry did not dare to act rashly. Therefore, their hearts were filled with anger and unwillingness, and they wanted to fiercely charge forward and kill. Therefore, they looked at the barbarian cavalrymen of the Stormy Valley with hostility. However, the moment they saw Yang Dingtian, all the Black Blood Cavalry's eyes were filled with fanaticism and admiration. Greetings, young lord. All the Black Blood Cavalry knelt down and shouted in unison. Yang Dingtian rode on his horse and shouted, brothers, get on your horses. Let's kill our way back to Cloud Sky City. Kill our way back to Cloud Sky City. All the Black Blood Cavalry brothers shouted crazily. Chapter 329. Kill our way back to Cloud Sky City. Kill our way back to Cloud Sky City. The shouts of more than 1,000 Black Blood Cavalry brothers shook the sky. Then, under the leadership of Yang Dingtian, the Black Blood Cavalry left the stormy castle like a tide. The barbarian cavalry in the castle looked at the Black Blood Cavalry brothers with complicated feelings and envy. Although these barbarian cavalry were rough and wild, they could faintly feel that the black torrent in front of them was very different from them. Their opponent's spirit and aura made them feel proud and powerful forever. Of course, any army with faith was incomparably powerful. There was no doubt that the Black Blood Cavalry was an army with faith. Their faith was the omnipotent Yang Dingtian. Of course, these barbarian cavalry were even more unaware of the catastrophe that was about to befall the Stormy Valley. In the Stormy Valley, Mo Sha was the most powerful. He was a 9-star marshal revered and was infinitely close to becoming a grandmaster. Among the many experts in the Stormy Valley, he was far ahead. Therefore, he was able to secure his position as the Valley Master. The remaining 5 elders were all martial revered experts and their martial arts cultivation was about the same. Then, there would definitely be a fierce battle to determine who would become the new Valley Master. Following this, no one knew how much blood would be shed in the Stormy Valley. No one knew how long it would take for the dust to settle. However, this had nothing to do with Yang Dingtian. His heart was filled with high spirits as he led the Black Blood Cavalry, who were extremely loyal to him, out of the mountain. This time, the crisis in the Stormy Valley only lasted for less than 6 to 7 hours before it was perfectly resolved. It would not delay the grand duel for the position of the city master in 4 days. After leaving the valley, the Black Blood Cavalry stretched along the mountain road. Yang Dingtian flew into the sky and was on high alert for over 100 miles. Yang Dingtian flew in the sky and was on high alert. Suddenly, he realized that the Black Blood Cavalry that was chasing after Yang Dingtian with all their might was Jiao Liao, the seductive Jiao Liao, and his son, Zhan Lang. Yang Dingtian descended from the sky, and after the Jiao Liao caught up to him, she dismounted from her horse and knelt in front of Yang Dingtian, saying, "Jiao Liao and Zhan Lang beg City Lord Yang Dingtian to take us in. From now on, we will be at your beck and call." Yang Dingtian was stunned. This Jiao Liao had actually requested to join him and even brought her son along. "Madam, why are you like this? The Stormy Valley has no leader now, and it is your ancestors' foundation. It is time for you to develop your grand plans. Your son is very likely to be the future master of the Stormy Valley. Why do you want to follow me? Our futures are uncertain," Yang Dingtian said. Jiao Liao smiled sadly, "I betrayed and killed my husband. How can the Stormy Valley tolerate me? If I stay here, my life and little wolf's will be in danger. Of course, if I use my beauty to rely on a man, I believe that I can stand firm and even slowly control the Stormy Valley. However, I, Jiao Liao, am not a licentious and shameless woman. I have enough of this deceitful life. This Stormy Valley is your ancestors' foundation. Are you willing to give it up?" Yang Dingtian said. Jiao Liao smiled bitterly, "This Stormy Valley is not my ancestors' foundation. My grandfather snatched it from someone else. It was only passed down for 1 generation before it was snatched away by Huarong and Mo Sha. Therefore, I don't have the slightest attachment to this Stormy Valley. I only want to lead Little Wolf and live a peaceful life." Yang Dingtian smiled and said, "Peaceful? If you follow me, it might be hard to find peace. This time, I am going to take back the Cloud Heaven City Lord position. My enemy is stronger than me. Furthermore, even if I take back the Cloud Heaven City Lord position, I will face an incomparably strong enemy in half a year. If you follow me, there will be countless battles before I break through to the Grandmaster realm. Jiao Liao smiled and said, the peace I am talking about is a kind of trust, a kind of reliance in the heart. For Madame Shimen, you did not hesitate to risk your life to enter the stormy valley and kill Hu Rong and Mo Sha, who were much stronger than you. For more than 1,000 black blood cavalry, you did not hesitate to enter the stormy valley's 5 elders to negotiate. This let me know that you will not give up on anyone who follows you. This is more important than anything else. Following that, Jiao Liao said to Zhan Lang, little wolf, come, kneel. Zhan Lang's expression was slightly complicated as he looked at young Ding Tian with an unruly gaze. However, he was extremely filial to his mother. If his mother asked him to kneel, he would kneel. Quickly, pay your respects to your master, Jiao Liao said. When these words came out, even young Ding Tian was shocked. This Zhan Lang was around 18 years old, which was about the same age as young Ding Tian. He actually acknowledged young Ding Tian as his master. What was going on? Zhan Lang was also shocked. Although young Ding Tian had saved him, he only thought that it was because of that pill. Young Ding Tian was so young, but he was actually his master. How could this be? One had to know that Zhan Lang also thought highly of himself and felt that he was stronger than all the young people in the world. Mother, I reached the martial mystic realm when I was 17 years old. How old is he? He's almost 30 years old, and he's still a martial ancestor. He doesn't have the qualifications to be my master, right? Zhan Lang said. Jiao Liao's expression changed. City Lord Yang Ding Tian is not even 22 years old this year and is a martial ancestor realm expert. Next, I will take it one step at a time, so I think it will take 3 years to break through to martial ancestor realm. Maybe more, I don't know. Zhan Lang's eyes lit up. You are so powerful, I am willing to be your sword servant. Then, Zhan Lang handed over the sword with both hands and said, Sword servant Zhan Lang greets master. Yang Ding Tian took the long sword and gently touched the tip of the sword to the top of Zhan Lang's head. Thank you for your trust. I welcome you to be by my side. Yang Ding Tian said with a smile. Zhan Lang was slightly surprised. Is it over? Aren't you going to say something impassioned? Yang Ding Tian smiled and turned to mount the horse. Jiao Liao giggled and pulled her son up. After the two of them mounted their horses, Jiao Liao said to Zhan Lang, little wolf, follow your master. Then, she rode her horse to Madame Shimen's side and bowed. Jiao Liao greets Madame. Madame Shimen's expression was a little complicated, but she still smiled gently. Welcome to Cloud Heaven City. Let's go, full speed ahead. Yang Ding Tian ordered. Instantly, all the cavalrymen rushed out at full speed. Yang Ding Tian suddenly extended his wings and flew into the sky. Zhan Lang on the ground looked at Yang Ding Tian in the sky and was instantly filled with admiration. 2 hours later, Yang Ding Tian's army met up with the army led by Li Guanong and Mu Yancheng. The moment they saw Yang Ding Tian and the others, the anxious Yan Yan let out a sigh of relief. She resisted the urge to throw herself into Yang Ding Tian's embrace and went forward to greet Shimen Lai, big brother. Shimen Lai, who was like a mad lion, now had a look of vicissitudes on his face. He held his sword and bowed. Shimen Lai greets Madam. He wasn't referring to young mistress, but Madam. This was because he had already treated Yang Ding Tian as the master of Cloud Heaven City. Everyone met each other one after another and expressed their warm and generous intentions. Yang Ding Tian pointed at Jiao Liao and said, This is Madame Jiao Liao. She just joined us. Jiao Liao was very low profile and was very respectful to Yan Yan, Li Guanong, and Mu Yancheng. Yang Ding Tian pointed at the 500 cavalrymen and said to Shimen Lai, Big brother, these are the warriors that Uncle Mu spent all his wealth to recruit. In the future, I will have to trouble you to train them into an elite army. Yes, I will obey the city lord's orders. Shimen Lai bowed. At this moment, the 500 cavalrymen were suddenly excited. Looking at the black blood cavalry that was close to 2,000 people, their hearts were filled with envy. They hoped that one day, they could also become such a mighty army. Good, continue north to Cloud Heaven City. With Yang Dingtian's command, the 2,000-strong army immediately headed north towards Cloud Heaven City. 2 days later, Yang Dingtian's army was only 300 miles away from Cloud Heaven City. Everyone here was a cavalryman. Because the endurance of the warhorses here far exceeded that of the warhorses on Earth, if they traveled at full speed, they could reach Cloud Heaven City in less than a day. At this moment, they had already entered Cloud Heaven City's territory. However, along the way, they didn't encounter any obstructions or attacks. The forces within Cloud Heaven City's territory didn't come out to welcome them, nor did they attack them. They only looked indifferently at Yang Dingtian's army. Arriving at an abandoned city in a valley that was easy to defend and hard to attack, Yang Dingtian's army entered. Yang Dingtian summoned Madame Shimen, Shimen Lai, Li Guinong, Jiao Liao, and Mu Lianqing for a meeting. There are still 2 days before the City Lord Martial contest. I need to make a trip 800 miles away from here. All of you will set up camp here and wait for me to return. Yang Dingtian said. He wanted to go to the abandoned mine, kill the Lord of the Abyss, and forge a real soul sword. Yes. Everyone replied in unison. Although this was an abandoned castle, Yang Dingtian wasn't too worried about the safety of this army. That was because there were already 4 Grandmaster-level experts here. In terms of top-notch martial strength, they were not much weaker than Yang Yan, Shimen Ju, and the others. Therefore, even if he left, this army would not be in any danger. Yan Yan opened her mouth. She really wanted to follow Yang Dingtian. At this moment, she really didn't want to be separated from Yang Dingtian for even a minute. However, she only opened her mouth and didn't say anything. Instead, she smiled sweetly at Yang Dingtian. Half an hour later, Yang Dingtian spread his wings and flew towards the west. Chapter 330. This place was only 800 miles away from the abandoned mine, which was about the same as Cloud Sky City. To Yang Dingtian, a distance of 800 miles was as easy as blowing off dust. Flying a few thousand meters in the air, Yang Dingtian flew west at a speed of a few hundred miles per hour. In less than 2 hours, he would reach the abandoned mine. Here, he had to pass through the abyss. This place was the border between Cloud Sky City and Northwest Qin City. It was a few thousand meters deep magma abyss, and there was only one suspension bridge. Moreover, every 100 meters, there was an anti-air sentry post to prevent anyone from flying over on a flying mount. There were also many patrolling flying cavalrymen. But to Yang Dingtian, these were nothing. Using flying mystic skills and the empty spirit mystic wings, Yang Dingtian could fly a few thousand meters in the air. This was a height that the anti-air crossbows and patrolling flying cavalrymen could not reach. Therefore, Yang Dingtian was able to cross the border with ease. Yang Dingtian did not look at Cloud Sky City's last line of defense, the Abyss Castle. More than a year ago, Yang Dingtian and Ningning had passed through here. In the Metal Sword Gathering Inn, the two of them had even discovered an extremely intimate relationship. More than a year ago, Yang Dingtian still had to sneakily disguise himself and pass through this border. At this moment, things were still the same, but people had changed. Sister Ningning's gentle and sweet voice seemed to still be by his ear, but the beauty had disappeared without a trace. No one knew where Shimen Ningning had gone. More than a year ago, after she displayed her power in Cloud Sky City and poisoned countless people, she had completely disappeared from everyone's sight. Yang Dingtian flew in the air and stared at the ground. It was as if he could feel Sister Ningning on a horse, smiling sweetly with him. Soon, young Ding Tian landed outside the abandoned mine. There was still no one here. It was almost the same as it was a year ago, but it was more desolate and the weeds were more lush. At that time, Ningning had been waiting for him outside, and she had single-handedly fought 4 assassins sent by Qin Shaobai. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and walked into the abandoned mine. The abandoned mine was still dark, but with Yang Dingtian's eyesight, he could see clearly even in the dim light. Yang Dingtian easily penetrated 1,000 meters into the mine. More than a year ago, there were only a small number of demonic beasts here, and they were all cleaned up by Yang Dingtian, so they were almost extinct. But now, along the way, there were traces of some demonic beasts. However, they were all level 1 and level 2 gold-eating beasts. Back then, Yang Dingtian had a hard time fighting them alone. He could not even defeat a level 2 demonic beast. He almost lost his life. And now, Yang Dingtian was completely carefree. This bit of cold did not have much harm to him. He dived down 30 meters. 50 meters. 100 meters. At 100 meters, which was the coldest place in the unfreezing pond, Yang Dingtian felt an unbearable chill. At this moment, Yang Dingtian only needed to summon the mystic fire and he would not feel any cold. But, there was no need for that. After passing through 100 meters, the gravity field reversed. Yang Dingtian began to float up. The temperature was getting higher and higher. After floating up 100 meters, Yang Dingtian suddenly jumped out of the water and arrived at the other side of the unfreezing pond. Yang Dingtian directly flew into the purplish-red tunnel and went deeper. So far, he did not see any traces of outsiders entering. What he was most concerned about was whether the 10,000 years old bloody black gold was still there. Yang Dingtian's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he had already dived down 2,000 meters. The turn in front was an incomparably huge magma abyss. Inside lived an incomparably powerful abyss lord. At this moment, even though he was 100 meters away, Yang Dingtian felt a wave of silence. He could not feel any energy fluctuation at all. Could it be that the abyss lord was killed? Yang Dingtian was worried. He slowly approached. After going around this turn, the huge magma abyss was in front of him. On the walls of the abyss, the 10,000 years old bloody black gold were inlaid like lanterns. There were 950 of them. Not one more, not one less. Yang Dingtian immediately heaved a long sigh of relief. It was good that the 10,000 years old bloody black gold was still there. This was the only guarantee that Yang Dingtian could forge soul swords of absolute grade and above. But, someone had indeed entered the cave. Why didn't they dig out the 10,000 years old bloody black gold? Could it be that they were killed by the Abyss Lord? Yang Dingtian walked forward and glanced at the blood-red magma. He wanted to check if the Lord of the Abyss was still there. The blood-red magma was quiet. He could not see the Abyss Lord at all. Yang Dingtian could not help but be slightly stunned. Could it be that the Abyss Lord was killed? That was impossible. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian could not help but reach out to touch the 10,000 years old bloody black gold beside him. As expected, the blood-red magma below moved violently. Then, a huge eye opened. It was an eye with a diameter of more than 1 meter. The diameter of the eye was 1 meter. It was obvious how huge the Abyss Lord was. Dongfang Minmi said that this Abyss Lord was the overlord of the demonic beasts within a few thousand miles. It was definitely a 1,000-year-old demonic beast. In terms of pure strength, even a great grandmaster was no match for it. To kill it, one had to use intelligence. However, Master Dongfang Minmi once said that as long as one had the mystic fire, even if one's cultivation was lower, one could kill the Abyss Lord. Master, I have returned to the abandoned mine. How should I kill the Abyss Lord? Yang Dingtian asked. Just use the mystic fire. Dongfang Minmi said, put the mystic fire into the blood-red magma. This Abyss Lord lives by absorbing the fire-type energy in the magma. After your mystic fire enters the magma, it will be automatically absorbed into the body of the Abyss Lord. Then, you can kill it by igniting it in its body. Although its shell is extremely tough and has an extremely huge energy shield, as long as the mystic fire is in its stomach, it can be easily burned to ashes. So simple. Yang Dingtian said in surprise. Yes, it's that simple. Dongfang Minmi said, and there won't be any danger. The Abyss Lord will almost not fight back. It just needs a longer time. How long will it take? Yang Dingtian asked. About half a month, Dongfang Minmi said. It needs to swallow enough mystic fire energy before it can be burned to death. Half a month? Yang Dingtian said, if it's half a month, there won't be enough time. In 2 days, I have to return to Cloud Sky City to participate in the martial arts contest for the position of the City Lord. Master, is there any way to kill it in 2 days? Dongfang Minmi said firmly, absolutely not. This Lord of the Abyss was as powerful as the Millennium Owl in the Horror Mountain Village. It's just that the Millennium Snack is electric type, so it's extremely precious. However, in terms of true energy, the Millennium Snack might not be comparable to this Abyss Lord. In a direct battle, even a Grandmaster is no match for the Abyss Lord. The energy of humans and demonic beasts is completely unmatched. Yang Dingtian immediately panicked. If he couldn't kill the Abyss Lord in 2 days and forge a soul sword, then what was the point of him coming here? In order to ensure his victory in the martial arts contest for the position of the City Lord, Yang Dingtian came here to forge a real soul sword so that he could achieve twice the result with half the effort in the contest. If he needed half a month to kill this Abyss Lord, then it would be too late. Master, is there no other way? Yang Dingtian asked. There's no other way, Dongfang Minmi said. Yang Dingtian's heart turned cold. What should he do? He wasn't that stupid to rush down and fight with the Abyss Lord. He wouldn't do something like hitting a rock with an egg. Should he give up and return to Cloud Sky City first? He was really unwilling to do that. At this moment, Yang Dingtian suddenly smelled a familiar and soul-stirring fragrance. Then, he saw a green skirt. Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly trembled. He said with a trembling voice, Sister Ningning, is that you? Sister Ningning, is that you? Chapter 331. There was no response. There was still only the soul-stirring fragrance. Sister Ningning, are you there? Yang Dingtian shouted. Suddenly, the Lord of the Abyss in the magma below opened its eyes. There was still no response. Yang Dingtian turned and walked toward the green figure. At the corner of the stone wall on the right, he saw a green dress tied to it. There were beautiful words written on the stone wall. Little Tian, before I left, the only thing I was worried about was you. But I didn't know where I could help you. I thought that in a year, you would come here to kill the Lord of the Abyss and excavate 10,000-year-old bloody black gold to forge a soul sword. This Lord of the Abyss is extraordinarily powerful. I was worried that you couldn't kill it, so I condensed a deep-sea mystic poison blood pill. You can find a way to wrap it in flames and lure it to consume it. There were thousands of words, thousands of thoughts, but she didn't know where to start. Don't worry about me. No matter what the future is, no matter who I am, you just need to know that you are the only man I have ever loved. I will love you forever, Ningning. Below the runes, there was a green pill. However, this pill was not in a solid form, but in a liquid form. It was condensed from fresh blood. Looking at the beautiful words and the deep-sea mystic poison condensed from blood, Yang Dingtian's heart was in a mess. He was moved, full of doubts, and full of complicated emotions. In order to help Yang Dingtian, Shiman Ningning was really meticulous. She came here specially and left this deep-sea mystic poison pill condensed from blood for young Dingtian. But who was Sister Ningning? What was her identity? Yang Dingtian held the deep-sea mystic poison pill condensed from blood in the air. This thing was suffused with a terrifying and beautiful green light. He was worried that he couldn't kill this Lord of the Abyss in a short time. With the mystic fire, it would take at least half a month to kill this extremely powerful 1,000-year-old demon beast. Now, with this deep-sea mystic poison condensed from Ningning's blood, killing the Lord of the Abyss became simple. Yang Dingtian released the mystic fire and directly burned the deep-sea mystic poison. Suddenly, the deep-sea Xian poison spread out. The blood inside boiled and vaporized, leaving behind only the faintly discernible deep-sea Xian poison. The mystic flame continued to burn. In the end, the deep-sea mystic poison could no longer be seen. However, this flame had become slightly green. Yang Dingtian controlled the flame and directly fell into the magma below. Unexpectedly, this flame seemed to have an incomparably strong attraction to the Lord of the Abyss. It actually opened its mouth and swallowed the slightly green mystic flame. Yang Dingtian was slightly stunned. But in this way, the speed of killing the abyssal overlords became even faster. After swallowing the poisonous flames, the Lord of the Abyss was startled at first, and then it opened its mouth to spit them out. But at this moment, the poisonous fire in its stomach suddenly exploded, instantly turning into countless green energy that seeped into the abyssal lord's body. The Lord of the Abyss let out an earth-shattering howl. Then, he frantically tried to use the magma to jump up. Its incomparably huge body instantly appeared in front of Yang Dingtian. This Lord of the Abyss was even bigger than the Millennium Owl. Its eyes were more than 1 meter in diameter, and its entire head was dozens of meters long. The body that rushed out of the magma was already more than 200 meters long before it was fully exposed. Such a huge behemoth, even the movie Behemoth Godzilla from the Earth era was far from comparable. Therefore, its roar alone was enough to shake the heavens and the earth and shake the mountains. Yang Dingtian's scalp went numb, and his whole body trembled. Boom! Before the Lord of the Abyss could completely jump up, its incomparably huge body condensed and froze in the air. Then, at a speed visible to the naked eye, it was quickly petrified. Immediately after, it fell into the magma. Countless streams of magma suddenly shot up into the sky. After falling into the magma, the Lord of the Abyss's entire body was quickly petrified, and it was trapped in the magma, unable to move. Roar! The raging Lord of the Abyss suddenly opened its mouth toward Yang Dingtian, and breathed out earth-shattering flames. When it was still a few hundred meters away from Yang Dingtian, he already felt a completely unbearable energy and temperature. Wherever the flames passed, all the cliffs and stone walls were instantly burned into water. Only more than 9,010,000-year-old bloody black gold remained untouched. Looking at the flames rushing toward the sky, Yang Dingtian's body instantly felt as if it was going to be burnt to a crisp. He knew that he absolutely could not resist this terrible flame. He hurriedly summoned the dark profound flame from the soul ring and blocked in front of him. Hopefully, this dark profound flame would be useful, otherwise, Yang Dingtian would really be burned alive. The endless flames of the Lord of the Abyss frantically devoured Yang Dingtian, and Yang Dingtian was about to be completely burned to ashes. This flame was completely comparable to the flames of a nuclear explosion, as if it was the devil's fire released from the depths of hell. At this moment, the dark profound flame suddenly became excited, and suddenly soared into the sky. The originally thin dark profound flame suddenly opened its mouth. Whoosh! The endless flames were quickly devoured. The dark profound flame was like a space door. After the endless flames were devoured, they instantly disappeared without a trace. Devouring, devouring. Endless raging flames frantically entered the darkness of the darkness profound flame. All over the sky, the endless flames were completely devoured by the dark profound flame that was less than 5 inches long. Seeing this scene, Yang Dingtian was completely stunned. This darkness celestial flame was simply too stunning. The Lord of the Abyss below had already entered a state of complete madness. With nearly half of its body petrified, it madly spat out raging flames aimlessly, and then it was continuously devoured by the dark profound flame. Yang Dingtian suddenly thought of something and said, "Master, is the energy flame of a Grandmaster stronger, or the energy flame of the Lord of the Abyss stronger?" "Of course it's the energy flame of the Lord of the Abyss. These two cannot be mentioned in the same breath," Dongfang Minmi said. Yang Dingtian said, "If that's the case, then in the future, even if you fight against a Grandmaster, as long as you release the dark profound flame, won't you be able to completely devour the opponent's energy attack?" "Of course not." Dongfang Minmi said, "Although the energy of this Lord of the Abyss attack is incomparably huge, it's aimless, and it's purely spitting fire. Therefore, the energy within the unit space is not strong, and the direction is fixed, so it's easy to be intercepted by the dark profound flame. If it's an attack from a human martial artist, it's completely traceless, and your dark profound flame will have a hard time intercepting it in a certain direction." Roar. At this moment, the Lord of the Abyss suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, the flames that it spat out suddenly turned into a terrifying blue color. Then, something even more terrifying happened. These endless blue flames actually spread over the dark profound flame, and suddenly pounced towards Yang Dingtian. Although this dark profound flame was heaven-defying, it was indeed not invincible. As long as the Lord of the Abyss changed its direction, or the energy it spat out became stronger, the dark profound flame would not be able to completely devour it. "Run, run!" Dongfang Minmi shouted loudly. Without his master's reminder, when the blue flames came over, Yang Dingtian frantically ran backwards. His speed was incomparably fast, and the distance of 2,000 meters was covered in less than half a minute. But the terrifying blue flames chased closely behind, and were already licking towards Yang Dingtian's back. Yang Dingtian was greatly alarmed. If he was really licked, even with the deep-sea mystic clothes, he would not be able to prevent the fate of being burned to ashes. The counterattack of this Lord of the Abyss before its death was simply too shocking. Quick, quick, quick! Yang Dingtian used all his strength and profound energy to rush towards the unfreezing pool. In an instant, the endless blue flames swallowed everything in the cave. The solid ice in the cave melted instantly, vaporized, and disappeared. The stone walls and countless crystals melted into water in an instant. A few thousand meters of mine tunnel melted in an instant. After Yang Dingtian jumped into the unfreezing pool, he finally avoided the terrifying flame attack. However, he could clearly feel that the temperature of the unfreezing pool was actually rising, and even the position of the unfreezing water was dropping. The blue flames spewed out by the Lord of the Abyss had actually boiled and vaporized the unfreezing pool. It was truly powerful to the point of no return. Yang Dingtian could only continue to dive, and then he was surprised to find that the blue flames had actually entered the unfreezing pool and chased after him. Yang Dingtian frantically dove down, 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 desperately trying to get rid of the blue flames. After diving for nearly 100 meters, Yang Dingtian could clearly feel that the earth-shattering tremors above had ended, and the terrifying blue flames did not continue to chase after him. Yang Dingtian stayed in the unfreezing pool for a while. After confirming that there was no movement above, Yang Dingtian floated up. At this time, only more than half of the unfreezing pool was left, and the temperature was far lower than before. Yang Dingtian jumped out of the pool. At this time, the ground here and the mine tunnel were all flowing with magma. Because the blue flames had burned all the stones into magma, the magma was constantly flowing into the unfreezing pool. Yang Dingtian could not land on his feet. He floated in the air and flew in the direction of the Lord of the Abyss. Along the way, it had been completely destroyed. All he could see was flowing red magma. Soon, Yang Dingtian returned to the magma abyss of the Lord of the Deep Sea. At this time, the Lord of the Deep Sea was already on the verge of death. Its entire body had been petrified, and countless huge cracks had cracked open. Glaring flames were burning from the cracks of its body. Its eyes had been completely petrified, leaving only the last bit of light. Its incomparably huge body was sinking bit by bit. Little Tian, quickly, go and dig out the demon core of the Lord of the Abyss. You have the mystic fire and yin-yang qi transformation technique, you can devour the powerful mystic qi inside. Dongfang Minmi said. Yang Dingtian's eyes lit up. He immediately jumped down, pulled out his youngling sword, and stabbed the head of the Lord of the Abyss. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.